research, prospect and possibilities of BRI implementation in Nepal. And to kick things forward, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Yuvraj Sangrola. He is a senior advocate and professor, Kathmandu School of Law, Purvanchal University. I would like sir to call upon the stage. Please give a big round of applause for the sir. Next, I would like to call upon the stage Professor Yang Yabo, Director and Research Fellow, Institute of South Asian Studies of XAS, China. I would like to request sir to take a seat on dais. I would like to call upon the stage Professor Yang Yabo, Director and Research Fellow, Institute of South Asian Studies of the XAS, China, to take a seat on dais. Next, I would like to call upon the stage Dr. Suriraj Acharya. He is an expert on development, infrastructure and public policy, to take a seat on a dais. To continue the invitation, I would like to invite Mr. Y. Jishong, Assistant General Manager, SCIG, International Nepal Hydro Joint Development Investment Company Private Limited, to take a seat on dais. Please give a big round of applause. Finally, I would like to call upon the stage Mr. Lilamani Paudel. He is a former ambassador of Nepal to People's Republic of China. I request sir to take a seat on dais. Finally, I would like to call upon the stage Professor Dr. Dinesh Raj Bhuju. He is an academician of Nepal Academy of Science and Technology, to chair the session. Please give a big round of applause for Dr. Dinesh Bhuju, sir. I hand over the stage to you, sir, now. I request and I would like to call upon the stage Dr. Suriraj Acharya. He is an expert on development, infrastructure and public policy, to take a seat on a dais. I would also like to call upon the stage Professor Yang Yabo, Director and Research Fellow, Institute of South Asian Studies of the XAS, China, to take a seat on the dais. Now, I hand over the floor to Dr. Dinesh Bhuju.
Namaskar. May I have your attention, please? Welcome back to technical session 2. I presume we are here to listen the word of wisdom from the experts. के म यहाँहरूलाई एकचोटि निवेदन गर्न सक्छु? शान्तपूर्वक बसिदिनु हुन, आफ्नो एकदम मिल्ने साथीसँग यस्तो बेला सँगै बस्नु हुन्न के कुरा गर्न मन लाग्छ। कुरा यु क्यान टक लेटर, है, कुरा पछि गर्दा हुन्छ। This is a very important and special dialogue. I request all of you to listen carefully and be very critical so that you can make some questions to the presenters. कृपया अगाडि सिटहरु धेरै खाली छ, अगाडि आइदिनु भए पनि हुन्छ. So this is rule of game. When you are in a seminar, you are supposed to listen and also make questions critically. है हजुरले त्यो क्वेशन गर्नुपर्छ. So my name is Dinesh Bhuju. I had my brief presentation in the earlier session, technical session 1, where my moderator was Professor Sangrola. Now we have flipped. I'm moderating and he's making a presentation. This rule of the game, very interesting. So I just mentioned we have 5 presentation, 5 वटा प्रस्तुतिहरू छन्. Starting from Professor Yuvraj Sangrola, followed by Professor Yang Yapo, and then Dr. Suryaraj Acharya, with intermission for discussion, followed by Mr. Wei Chisong, and finally, Mr. Lilamani Paudin. So we have 5 presentation, 5 वटा प्रस्तुतिहरू छन्. प्रत्येकलाई मेरो निवेदन छ, समय 20 मिनेटको दिएको छ. सकिन्छ भने 15 मिनेटमा प्रस्तुति गरिदिनु होला ताकि हजुरको त्यो 5 मिनेट समय म हजुरहरूलाई नै पछि प्रश्नोत्तरमा दिनेछु. त्यो हजुरहरुकै समय हो. So with this, let me invite first Professor Sangrola, Professor Dr. Yuvraj Sangrola, who we know very well. He is a senior advocate and professor at Kathmandu School of Law under Purvanchal University. र उहाँको परिचय मैले दोहोऱ्याइराख्नु पर्दैन होला, बिहान हामीले सुनिसकेका छौं. And his presentation is on BRI, Nepal-China Agreement 2017 special feature. Please, sir.
Thank you, Professor Bhuju. Respected Chair, former Prime Minister of Nepal, Jalnath Khanal, and everyone who is present here, and also my friend Wang Chongduo from Sichuan. I will be very brief, in the sense that there is a debate going in Nepal for a long time, and also often we do compare BRI and MCC. My very precise answer is that a donkey and bull cannot be compared. But if we compare a donkey and bull, then we create a lot of misconceptions. So it's not a BRI is misunderstood, but we have confused this idea. So it's very interesting, so many people talk whether BIR is a debt or it's a loan. It's neither debt, it's neither nor assistance. It's a model of cooperation. In this model of cooperation, what happens is like everybody puts some money or some resources and they share. That's why it is called win-win cooperation. In the last presentation, Professor Zhang Shubin also showed 5 different parameters of BRI. So BRI has a long history, Silk Road and Maritime Silk Road, and the concept is based on that. So the very simple philosophy is that create one belt and then create another road and then create another belt. That's how connected. So, with this word, what I say is like 2017 Memorandum of Understanding regarding BRI between Nepal and China is unique one. It's very special, but that's not properly understood or not that is properly studied. This morning, Excellency Ambassador said that China is spending almost 400 billion US dollar in research. This is a country where there is no money for research, so we don't study anything. In this agreement, there are 4 things very important. What this agreement says is that if BRI project works in Nepal, the money definitely is a resources. Nepal can put money, China can put money, or Nepal can money fully, or China can do it. If China does it, and if the project relates to a hydroelectricity, the water that flows is our money. So it is equated. So price of per cubic water is counted on, and then that price of the resources is Nepal's investment. And very interesting point is there. What it says is like the environment is also calculated, and the cost of the environment is also the cost from the side of the Nepal. And most importantly, what this agreement says is that even the labor, the human resource is also the investment from the side of Nepal. Though salary is probably paid by the project, but that much human resource involved, the brain and the physics both, that also is money. So therefore, there is, suppose, $1 billion US dollar investment from China. Now, what may happen is like the water, environment, and labor, these 3 things can be equated, and it can be said 75, or you can say little less than $1 billion US dollar. So that is Nepal's investment, and that's in China's investment. And so why do we talk about loan or debt? It's very interesting. So this agreement was not properly analyzed and not properly studied before the protocol was proposed from the side of Nepal. So people have been quite confused, and they say that, okay, with the new framework proposal, framework project, the previous agreement memorandum is gone. No, that's not. That's a foundation, and that's an elaboration. That's how we have to understand. So with these, I don't think that we have to much understand about it. If we see the cow, we understand it. But if we don't see the cow, then we will write 100 pages essay, but still we don't understand. So Nepal, what is problem of Nepal is like our Chinese colleague, they understand things in a precise, exact, objectively, but we try to understand subjectively. So sometime this morning I said that, okay, answer is accepted but not lecture, because Nepalese even cannot ask a question without talking 5 minutes. They don't have a question. We give a lecture to ask the question, and the people who answer, they don't understand what he meant. So that's a problem. Now, what I would like to relate with this is like talk to certain challenges and certain prospects or the benefits. You scroll गर्ने दिनुहुन्छ भाइ मलाई? Hello? You scroll गर्ने पाइन्छ? खै त? Okay. सजिलो हो कि अप्ठ्यारो हो यो मेसिन भनेको? So what I would like to first share very briefly is there are certain challenges. त्यो सुरुमा आएन नि ओके यो यतापट्टिको थिच्ने कि यतापट्टिको राइटतिर ओके सो I will just briefly talk about certain difficulties. Let's see, one very important difficulties that we may encounter is the difficulty in converting geopolitics into geoeconomics. We have not started talking geoeconomics until. We always talk about geopolitics. We have been so much fed up with this, so much, that we all the time talk about bhurajniti, geopolitics, but if we start thinking changing geopolitics into geoeconomics, then India and China will be our market. If we think it is geopolitics, then India and China will be our big two tigers who may kill us. But if we convert it into economy, then it becomes both of them can be very friendly. So we should be able to negotiate that way, but we don't do it. So why this is becoming more problem now is like the context is shifting. Context is shifting in the sense that China is a big power now, and Russia has been emerged as a big political power, and it has a very strong control over Eurasia. So Russian importance now is being built on its political strength and military strength, whereas China's strength is built on its economy and cooperation. When these two powers have been emerging as a very strong power, then the Western countries, America and allies, have been feeling unsafe for them to keep Indo-Pacific area in their handle. So they are becoming more aggressive. And China and Russia both have to manage it. Therefore, there is a confrontation. So when that happens, what problem we face? More American presence in Nepal because of that shift has therefore changed the political dynamics of Nepal. So in the past, we managed China and India. Both of them were not very economically powerful and also not very militarily powerful, and a small country could very easily manage them. But now both of them have become very strong, and then it is because of their strength America has arrived. So now we have three countries to balance. And we never had a practice and never have an experience of balancing three countries. Therefore, we are entering into the problem. And now Russia is also active. So now we have four countries. When you were quite habitual to understand and balance the geopolitics of two countries, now you have four countries. Will the policy be same? There is no resource and there are no people. Therefore, this is a difficulty. Whether BRI comes or not, if we keep this diplomacy in this stage, we fail again. And it is not the BRI what that will fail, but our policy will fail. So we have to understand that way. That is my one narratives. Okay. So intensified American Indo-Pacific interests becomes bigger, and that escalates imbalance in geopolitical reality in Asia. This situation generates three sets of interest in Nepal: China and India, China and America and its allies, and America and India. So their dynamics are different. So there are three different types of dynamics here. Previously, we have only one dynamic, and then we could manage, but we cannot manage this dynamics by managing only USA, China, or America. So situation makes Nepal geopolitical extremely difficult today. And we have been talking about rail, we have been talking about Bhairava Airport, we have been talking about Pokhara Airport. But this shift in geopolitics, we never thought about it. Therefore, we constructed airport, But we never thought what problem we should encounter, because the country situation is the conflict of, we cannot say, we may not say conflict, but the competition of the three different interests. So we should have thought about it. We made a big mistake here. So Nepal is bound to navigate tensions posed by the changed context between China and India. Over-alignment with any country will strain relation with each other, potentially leading to reduced trade and investment. And that you can see, we import 15 billion worth of rupees today. And our trade has absolutely gone. Next is debt trap. No leaders of our country talk about debt trap, and they don't know what is the trap that means debt, and what is that debt trap actually composed by. See, Nepal already has debt of approximately 7 million US dollars, comprising 80% belonging to ADB, 30%, and World Bank, IMF, and Western Development Agencies, 50. So that is 80%. But all the time what we talk, China debt trap, whereas China's loan in Nepal is 1.19 alone. Only 1%, 90, whereas India's loan in Nepal is 2.10%. And rest of the 2% is Korean loan. So whose debt trap we are already in? Because we already are in big debt trap of the Western country. So this attract risks of an additional debt burden due to large-scale infrastructure project in this situation. In this situation, if we do not manage that debt trap and we start bringing big projects under BRI, and if we fail to manage it, and that will not actually create a prospect, but that will also create a burden of the that create a stress on the existing burden. So without analyzing this existing debt, we cannot manage the investment from the side of the China. That's what we never thought about. So why that happens, therefore? My opinion is that Nepal lacks a long-term economic and development plans. What we want to be in 20 years, what we want to be in 5 years, what we want to be in 30 years, and what we want to be in 50 years. Is there any plan? The situation is becoming like in 10 years, we would be a country without population. So that is a planning. Shall we give a non-objection letter to every child to go to Europe? That's the situation. So another problem is transparency. I don't have to explain much about it. This factor makes the most serious risks, weak institutional capacity of the government, and corruption are common parlance in Nepal. I don't know, even in the last Prime Minister visit, there were anyone who was a very good development economist associated with that trip, okay? So, BRI projects may suffer implementation setbacks due to institutional weakness of the government, not because of the China side. So this is very important thing that we need to understand. Transparency on the part of the Nepalese government, the chance of elite capture of projects and misalignment with local needs is big. So what may happen? So our business people may develop a projects not to produce goods but to create a cable car in Taplejo. It might be like that. So this is a very serious issue. Then another difficulty is land acquisition for projects may be challenging tasks due to government's lack of proper policies on the resettlement policy displaced by the projects. We are not blaming the people. People are not bad, but they will resent taking of the land because there is no settlement plan. If you have a settlement plan and you say that these are the houses built for you, you give the land, you go over there, I think people will happily give you the land and there is no project difficulties. The last dip probably is the implementation delays. Bureaucratic inefficiencies and political instability are chronic problems and the lack of adequate experts with most modern technology. This morning also, my colleagues also presented that you don't have good engineers because you don't teach people, you rot people. That's the situation. Now opportunities, infrastructure development, improve cross-border railways, highways, and China-Nepal trans-Himalayan connectivity network. Nepal's internal transportation and airports will enhance inbound tourists, both from India and from Nepal. I don't want to explain. I have well explained these benefits of Nepal in my books, China, South Asia, China Geopolitics. And then Himalayan Economic Corridor will be a net result throwing Nepal into economic high. After BRI, connectivity in all aspects may be enhanced and will reduce dependence on India, enhancing trade and regional connectivity. We already have signed agreement and all protocols have been there, but the goods do not go by China to South Korea or Japan. Then energy production is another opportunity for us. Investment in hydro projects as well as renewable energy could harness energy surplus for export to China and South Asia, boosting revenue. Economic growth and trade is another. So enhanced infrastructure may lower the logistic cost, expand access to Chinese and Indian markets for Nepali goods, including agriculture and handicrafts, and attract tourism, creating jobs and reducing poverty. That is another greatest benefit probably we can exact from BRI. Strategic partnership. BRI offers leverage and international diplomacy, diversifying alliance between BU and India. Participation in China's digital Silk Road could modernize intercommunication technology infrastructure and regional connectivity, positioning Nepal as a transit hub between China and South Asia, could spur economic integration, benefiting from initiatives like the Himalayan Economic Corridor. Sustainable development potential for green energy projects and climate resilient infrastructure. Aligning with global sustainability is another. So there are 5 difficulties and 6 advantages. But these are completely indifferent. So I will just take 1 minute. Conclusion now, what I do often talk about importance of BRI in Nepal is like, BRI presents transformative opportunity for Nepal's development. It not only creates economy, but it will also transforms the model of development in Nepal. But it may fail if project management capacity of the public as well as private sector is not enhanced and effective governance ensured. But keeping this level of technology and the manpower, we will fail. Balancing geopolitical interest is vital. Ensuring projects alignment with local needs and environmental safeguards should not be overlooked. And long-term development plan is vital to adjust priority of the projects. And that's how BRI is very important. Sure. BRI is not something China is going to give. BRI, if you want to take it, bring it. There is a honey hive. If you want to eat honey, bring it. If you do not want to eat honey, don't bring it.
Thank you, sir.
So question is not China. Question is Nepal. Let's think about Nepal and then China. We first think India and China and we think us. So that attitude is very, very bad. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And I would also like to take an apology because I have to go for some time. So I would go after 5 minutes and I will come back later on. So hopefully you will not be angry with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. So without loss today, thank you, wonderful presentation. So then, exactly 20 minutes. So let's move forward. Now I have in my list, the presentation is by Professor Yang Yapo. Dr. Yapo is Director and Research Fellow with the Institute of South Asian Studies of the XASS, China. And the title of his presentation is Opportunities and Prospects of BRI in Nepal from the Perspective of China, Nepal, and United States. Over to you. Please, you are invited, sir.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm so sorry I'm little. First, thank you, Mr. Singer. Thank you for your invitation. Now let's my speech. My speech title is Opportunities and Prospects of the BRI in Nepal, Insights from China-Nepal Joint Statements. 1. The evolution of China-Nepal joint statements under the BRI. Since President Xi Jinping proposed the BRI in 2013, China and Nepal has issued 4 joint states, Article 1 and 4 framework, reflecting the progress and deepening cooperation under this initiative. 1. The joint statement on March 23, 2016. We can see 2 pictures. In 2016, from 20 to 77, then Chinese Premier Li Keqiang, Nepalese Prime Minister KP Chopra Oli paid an official visit to China. The state emphasized the alignment of development strategy between the 2 countries, the formulations of bilateral cooperation plan, and the advancement of key projects under the BRI framework. Next, the joint statement of June 21, 2018, Beijing, China. We see in this visit, 2018, from June 19 to 24, then Chinese Premier Li Keqiang met Oli, including a trip in Lhasa, a trip to Lhasa, Xizang region. The state reaffirm both sides' commitment to accelerating the implementation of the MOU on BRI cooperation, stressing connectivity in ports, roads, railways, aviation, and communication, and joint developing a Trans-Himalaya multi-disciplinary connectivity network. The joint statement on October 13, 2019, Kathmandu, Nepal. This visit, Chinese President Xi Jinping paid a state visit to Nepal from October 12 to 13. The state reiterated the commitment to accelerating the implementation of the BRI MOU, stressing connectivity in ports, roads, railways, aviation, and communication and promotion neighbors development agenda, including its goals of graduating from the least development countries status and becoming major economic by 2013. The first, we see the joint statement of December 3, 2024, Beijing, China. This weekend, the KPOLI paid an official visit to China from December 2 to 5, 2024. The statement underscored both sides' commitment to further a larger development strategies and deepen high-quality BRI cooperation. It also highlighted the intention to sign MOU on promoting the construction of the Trans-Himalaya Connectivity Network and cooperation framework agreement on joint advancing the BRI, the first joint statement. Notably, prepared to the first BRI Forum for International Cooperation in 2017, China and Nepal had already signed the MOU on BRI cooperation. The provisions in 3 of the 4 joint statements regarding BRI implementation were based on this foundation MOU. This joint status reflects the results of policy coordination and mutual coalitions between China and Nepal, reforming their shared community on BRI. 2. Come opportunities and prospects of the BRI in Nepal in starts from the 2024 joint states. 1. The 5 program approations in the 2024 joint statement. The December 3, 2024 China-Nepal joint statement representing the latest outcome of battery policy coordinating containing 12 provisions that address the deepening of 5-pronged approach under the BRI's sacred gold did. Ample review, it can be observed that there is one provision directly related to the BRI, 9 provisions related to policy coordination, 2 provisions on infrastructure connectivity, 2 on uniparty trade, 1 on financial integration, and 1 on strengthened P2P tile. One might wonder, doesn't this exceed 12 provisions? Why? Indeed, it does. This is because the one provision most closely related to the BRI is also the longest in the joint statement, covering all the 5 program approaches. This highlights that the BRI is the central focus of the joint statement. Over the past 80 years, under the guidance of these joint statements, China and Nepal have achieved significant progress in the 5 program operation. I think in policy coordination, China and Nepal signed the agreements in June 2018 2080 on railway cooperation and goods transportation by Xizang. As for the high anticipated Chinese-Nepal cross-border railway, in December 2022, the two governments successfully signed the implementation agreement for the project. The first phase of feasibility studies was completed in early 2024, with field service expected to conclude by June and full feasibility signed by 2026. In infrastructure connectivity, the China and Nepal cross-border optical fiber link project launched in January 2018 has allowed Nepal to its Chinese internet service, offering faster and more affordable connectivity than before. 3. In unpeded trade, following the pandemic, the bilateral trade reached 1.8 billion in 2023, a 9.1% increase from the previous year. From January to August 2024, trade volume hit 1.28 billion and 18 increasing. Additional 14 transnational border trade points announced the Chinese-Nepal border returned and begin functioning smoothly, benefiting both trade and the local livelihoods. A report from the government post on January 16, 2024 highlighted the reopening of the reservoir and Chagulat trade ports in Nepal's northeast region on May 24, 2024. This reopening greatly facilitated the trade of transnational Nepali carpets. Local region reported that hand-mended carpets are highly popular in Xizang, and they are one of Nepal's fastest-selling exports. Carpets now sell for 1,800 Nepalese rupees, up from 3 Nepalese rupees 15 years ago. In terms of payments, border trade has proven more cohesion than the domestic sales. In Nepal, where transaction may require credit checks and pays can take years. In contrast, in Xizang-based markets allow for cash settlement and immediate invoicing, which increasing efficiency. In financial integration, WeChat Pay we officially launched in Nepal in June 2023, marking a positive and beneficial collaboration between Chinese tech companies and Nepali financial institutions. Financial, on stressing deep to people tie, cultural and education exchanges continue to deep, stressing the borders between the two natures. Given the framework of the 2024 joint state, the future of BRI cooperation between China and Nepal is promising. 2. The China-Nepal BRI cooperation framework. On December 4, 2024, China and Nepal signed the cooperation framework agreement on joint advancing BRI, covering economic, financial, transportation, logistics, trade, industrial investment, and customer cooperation. This signing ceremony was attended by Liu Sushe, Vice Chairman of National Development and Reform Commission of China, and Emilio Banda Ri, Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Nepal. According to official statements from both sides, the agreement outlines 10 key construction projects in sections including transportation, energy, culture, and industry, along with details on project implementation and financials. The agreement is valid for 3 years and will be automatic. It extended for another 3 years unless as party decides to terminate it before expiration. Its signing makes a significant step forward in China-Nepal relations and lays the foundation for deeper economic cooperation under the BRI framework. Meanwhile, as reported by the Kasthamandap Postport, Chinese and Nepal also signed 9 agreements. Sorry. Yeah, the Chinese Nepal Foundation. Yeah. 3. The BRI was a YY cooperation model. The BRI embodies the spirit of shared prosperity and mutual benefit. Both the joint statement and the cooperation framework agreement contain numerous provisions on specific areas, collaboration, and projects that benefits both China and Nepal. To address Nepal's trade deficit with China, the joint states that Chinese grants Nepal as one of the latest developing countries, zero tariffs on 100% its traffic lines. Additionally, Chinese welcome Nepal to expand its exports of high-quality agricultural products such as cigala feed, medicine, herbs, and tea. Xizang, in particularly, has significantly benefited from participating in the BRI. All 4 of its land border ports now facilitate passengers and cargoes exchange with Nepal. The Jilun border, for example, Jilun border economic cooperation zone has been approved, and the Chinese Nepal Freight Ship Industrial Park is progressing stated. At the same time, Chinese is actively promoting global green development through the Green Think route. Investment in green technologies such as economic wages and green energy reflect Chinese committing to small yet impactful and eco-friendly projects. Since Nepal launched its National Action Plan for Electronic Mobility in October 2018, its imports of Chinese electronic vehicles have stably increased. In the 2023-2024 fiscal year, nearly 70% of Nepal's imported EVs came from China, with brands like BRI. To meet the increasing global demand, Chinese automakers have begun investing in Nepal's manufacturing sector. In April 2024, Xiamen Gold Dragon Antibody Cooperation secured an agreement with NK Motors Private Limited Nepal to visit three billion Nepali rupees to set up an electronic plant in Nepal. The introduction and impulsion for electric will play a key role in improving Nepal's energy infrastructure and promoting green sustainable development. For ER cooperation under the BRI, companies such as DeepSeek, U3 Robotics,
Could you please summarize?
Okay, 1 minute. Yeah. For Nepal, Chinese can play a crucial role in equipping the local workforce with AR skills through the BRI, helping create a sustainable technological ecosystem in regions traditionally lagging behind in digital innovation. Recently, Chinese changes and the road ahead. However, while the BRI cooperation between China and Nepal has shown great promise, it also faces several challenges. Nepal's lack of comprehensive development framework, difference in perspectives between the two countries, and the strong influence of Western geopolitical thinkers in Nepal's political discourse have posed obstacles. Additional domestic political depends on whether to fall engage with the BRI remain unresolved. So these changes are worthy of our deep consideration and discussion. Overcoming these obstacles soon rather than later will be crucial to ensure the long-term successful in China-Nepal BRI cooperation. If these challenges are addressed proactively, the BRI will continue to yield substantial benefits for both nations. It's my speech. Thank you.
Let's invite Dr. Suriraj Acharya. We know all of us know he's an expert of development, infrastructure, and public policy. Dr. Suriraj Acharya, he also a visiting professor at the University in Institute of Engineering and also a Japanese university. And presently he is very much engaged in developing Nepal University as well. So with this brief introduction of Dr. Acharya, let's invite him for his talk on BRI implementation in Nepal, opportunities and challenges.
Thank you, Dr. Puji. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please. Well, I'll speak on about BRI implementation in Nepal, opportunities and challenges, and interestingly, it is a great deal of overlapping among the speaker of this session. That so, in a way, it's a very much easier task. That so, there might be some duplication, but still some different perspective. Bear with us. Give away. अभी मैं कॉपी कर दिया उनका Okay, thank you. Sorry for which I. There are implementation in Nepal, opportunity and challenges. I am affiliated with the University of Nepal. It is a newly established public university. So, okay, very briefly, this is the picture of my presentation. First, the why BRI. Basically, to understand the BRI and to understand all the issues, we have to start with what is this perspective, apparent perspective of the Chinese side, Chinese government. I'll start with that. And very burning issue in Nepal, the loan or the grant. That is still our politics is bogged down. And then opportunities and challenges and conclusion. The first, what is the apparent perspective from China? This is the why BRI. Basically, there are the three major things from the Chinese side. Number one is, we can understand the center of gravity of the global economy is shifting toward the Asia. That is of the China-centric. It's a manufacturing hub. It's the biggest market. And then, as we hear, in the Roman Empire's time, all the roads ends to Rome. So in the same spirit, that the China wants all the supply chain logistic and the connectivities, they center around the China. So it's not unreasonable. Technically, it's not unreasonable. Even though it might have a very explicit geopolitical implication for the Chinese competitors. That's their job. But from our side, it's quite reasonable and it's a technically rational thing, number one. Number two, second reason is, because China is from the past few decades, it's enjoying this trade surplus. And as a result, huge amount of foreign exchange reserve. It's over $3 trillion. So when you have a reserve in the dollars, one of the problem is it's very vulnerable, and also your dollar reserve gives very lower return. The interest rate in the dollar is very less. So the second reason is the Chinese government want to diversify the huge foreign exchanges that to fill up the funding gap in developing countries. In developing countries, there is not enough fund for the infrastructures. And that way, there is a two advantage for China. One is diversifying that reserve, and another is having relatively higher return. Because when the BRI investment is for the 2 or 3%, it's a higher return for China, and it's much lower for receiving country. Please make no mistake that 2% interest rate is not a high interest rate. If you started making noises for 2 or 3% of this interest rate, it's a high, then there will be the question on your basic literacy and development finances. It's not high. Second, and third reason, number 3 reason is, in the past 20, 30, 40 years, Chinese construction industries, I'm an engineer by training, by the way. I lived almost 20 years in Japan. In 90s, when I saw the technology, engineering, civil engineering in Japan, it was very surprising. But early in this century, when Japanese civil engineering or the company, this innovation in China, they were surprised that you have over 40,000 of high-speed rail. High-speed rail is invented in Japan. It's not at 3,000 kilometers there. So this huge, massive construction industry's capacity, it's overcapacity. And the Chinese infrastructure is it's all building other saturation. So you need to develop an overseas market for Chinese construction industry. In this point, country like Nepal has to be very careful. Because here from the Chinese side, their motivation might be to create a construction market. And if our negotiator, if our government is not very careful, or we might, over-dependent on their construction industry. So these are the 3 major factors. And others is, this is also not, though often in the Western media, the energy, this capture of these natural resources, or that, it's in a trade, that it's always happening, that it's not a very serious stuff. So with this, next issue, why we have this loan or grant debate? Just a Republican Nepalese newspaper, you can see in the left-hand side. I would call it unnecessary debate. It is not only unnecessary debate, it is embarrassing also. If your formal government, your foreign minister, your finance minister, your prime minister level, if you insist on that, whoa, we don't accept a loan. We only need please give us only the grant. This is the embarrassing thing for educated people. That I would call it very not only unnecessary, it's embarrassing. What we have to understand is, look, the BRI investment, it does not come from Chinese government budget surplus. How it comes is, it comes from Exim Bank or China Development Bank or Asian Infrastructure Bank, whatever. These institutions raise the money from the local capital market. And they give to us. And they have to pay back it. That is, there is somebody's money. So it is very ridiculous in a way that you give us a grant is not a very practical in that. So we have to understand how this money come. And by the way, again I'll underscore, 2 or 3% interest rate in the loan is not a high interest rate. Even World Bank, IMF and World Bank, when we are graduated from the least developed country, 2 and 2.5% is the World Bank. So this is, we have to understand in the context. So the question is, why such an unnecessary debate evolved globally? So very briefly, it is the politics. It's a geopolitics. Basically, the Western competitor of China wanted to build a narrative. It's a false narrative. So often, this cited report it's commissioned in 2001 with the USAID funded this study. So that put all the BRI project in a very bad light, and all the media picked up it. And you see, the Congress proposed $5 million for propaganda. American recent 6 oh, narrative does not live a long life. That is, you might have in the Chatham House in the think tank in the London, that is famous for very independent and neutral position. The Chatham House said that debunking the myth of the dead trap, it's already in 2001. The Atlantic magazine, this is American magazine, very respected. It says the Chinese dead trap is a myth. The Nitya Asia, the Japanese newspaper, it says it's myth. However, as late as 24 December, the Kathmandu Post Niti, there are Prime Minister saying, dropping the words in the dead trap. The world has already understood this is a false narrative, but our politician, our intellectual and our media have yet to wake up. That is very unfortunate. So finally, now, with this background, what is the opportunities? I don't want to repeat. Dr. Sangrola very eloquently put in the same thing. So it's important to fill up the funding gap, we know it already. And most important is the connectivity infrastructure for easy access to Chinese market. China and Nepal railway. I am often in the public forum. As a transport planner and engineer, I have been advocating all along in the media, and that it's a game changer. It's a truly game changer. That. So we should have focus on that, do a homework and for things. And the leveraging BRI investment for Chinese investment and industrialization trade. Just last our distinguished Chinese this presenter very brightly put it that. BRI is not only particular or isolated infrastructure project. It has to look at in the ecosystem of promoting trade, promoting Chinese investment for the industrialization and so on and so forth. And most important opportunity is, as I mentioned, the China in the past 10 or 20 years has made a miracle in construction university, especially civil engineering university, and there is a good chances of getting benefit from that through the technology transfer. Training our young engineers, our construction company, our consulting company, we have not get benefited from that. So even in our all the agreement and that high level exchanges and that, we have hundreds of people joining Prime Minister delegation, but not a single engineer, not a single engineer. Not a technician. We have to change it. That to reap that opportunity. And most important opportunity is, look, Dr. Sangrola just mentioned about it. Our developmental problem is a wrong policy and an approach imposed by Western multilateral donors. And with the BRI, we have an opportunity to have a new kind of development framework. Our Chinese friend also should have to understand that. Dr. Sangrola rightly put it, if you want to implement BRI project within the framework designed by our Western donor, there will be disaster. There will be disaster. So this is another opportunity to change our overall development, our infrastructure development system. One of the challenges is, the first is from the Nepal side, identifying the right project. You can see in the planet the photograph of the Pokhara airport, it's a wrong project. I have all along the right from the beginning. I have spoken in the media, this is my subject, I am a university professor, I teach it. Such a kind of statement, I don't put without the fact and this analysis. It's a wrong project, and our Chinese partner also. We are weak, our system is weak. You should have allowed that. If this project is whether there can be, this operated effectively or not. So, first task is, challenge is identifying the right project, and another is, especially in Nepal, our economists, especially professional project economists, are doing the pretty bad. Because whenever there is some project, our expectation is who pays it? Does the project generate the financial profit or not? The fact of the matter is, not all infrastructure projects that are economically feasible or socially desirable, not financially profitable. Our road, railway, port, airport, in both countries, when you first build it, from next year it cannot have no profit. That it takes some time, and some project is of the public nature, never generate a profit. But our discussion and on the railway, airport, port and all, our discussion is it should generate a project. It's not like a building a cinema hall or the supermarket or like private sector. So that is, we need to acknowledge at a policy level. So for instance, this China-Nepal railway, it's a game changer. But from the next 2 years or 3 years, it cannot recover all the investment. It might take some time. So those kind of acknowledgement at the policy level is important and we need it. And already our system needs to be fixed first. It's a broken system we do have. And negotiating to minimize this commercial interest of the Chinese side. So one of the big challenges for the Nepalese government is, because in the BRI, what I see is there is a different layer of, what you call this, narratives of the agenda. In the political level, Chinese political level, we have very historically, very friendly relationship. Chinese people and Chinese politicians, government want to have a really help in Nepal. But when it comes to your contractor level, the contractor's project manager is to maximize the project profit. So at that point, there might be two different, even though both are the Chinese government department and this, what you call this, contractor. So we should make a distinction. So at that level, in the project management level, the Chinese contractor may not be as sympathetic as their political masters. So that we have to be very careful. And finally, there is this technology transfer and in the capacity building. The Chinese side can help Nepal in a great deal. Let me give you two examples in the BRI. They are rather successful, both are railway. This is China-Laos railway. Why I am presenting this case is, in BRI discussion, we had debated this kind of arrangement. We end up our discussion in loan versus grant and finished. That it's very polarized. Look, in China, Laos railway is 1,000, more than 1,000 long railway, 1,035 kilometers, $6 billion, huge money. And the burden for, and by the way, this Laos section is very difficult. Out of 6 billion, about 4 billion around is Laos side constructed. But how much burden Laos is taken is only $730 million. And $250 is equity, and loan is only 480. So what matters is at the end of the day, what is the arrangement for the project? We have not entered in that. We started fighting on the loan versus grant. That's ridiculous. And by the way, in this agreement, I find that China is very sympathetic to Laos, being a poor country, small country. So we need this kind of sympathy. Nepal also should have. Another, Jakarta Bamboo has been doing. It's also very flexible. We are a project. Look, the project started with the 6 billion interest, this estimated cost, but it was delayed for land acquisition and that, and the cost of it been 5. Dr. Sangrola already pointed it out. I would like to draw attention about Chinese friend. Be very careful. Our project implementation system is broken. And if we go that in the, because I'm a transport engineer, when I was in Tokyo, this project was developed by Japanese, you know it. And if the project cost is not escalated to $1.5 billion, the project is now in the very successful, but now in a big deficit. And there is an issue. The government has to subsidize. So, having the right kind of the implementation is very important. And another lesson here is the Indonesian government is very smart to play against Chinese versus Japanese. And ultimately, until 1 week back, there was a newspaper that this project is going to the Japan and that, but then it's back. So this is the negotiating tactics. And Indonesian government was able to convince China on a very convenient term and condition. Number one, the loan is not guaranteed by government. It doesn't appear in the government budget, number one. And other is, there is a very significant element of technology transfer. That. Let me tell you why technology transfer is very important. All along, in different forum, I am giving the example, and my colleague, even engineering colleague, again blame me, you are talking about Korea, you are talking about Japan, Europe, we are not that, we are not India. Now this time, I am talking about Japan, but not now Japan. Japan of 1817. My university, my alma mater, the University of Tokyo was established in 1876, 6 years after this project. So in this first railway line project, the Japan borrowed money from Britain with 12% interest rate, not 12% interest rate, it's a fact. What they did, how Japanese Prime Minister and politicians thought it, how will you get that? They said that, look, we don't have a university, we know nothing about engineering. What they said is, this project itself is our engineering. So they assigned young Japanese without engineering background against each British engineer and technician. I asked them, look, you have to learn this thing in 2 years without any engineering. And in another project in 1880, after 8 years, 100% of new lines is done by Japanese by themselves. When they didn't have engineering colleges, they didn't have. It's by learning, by doing, and technology transfer to the project. This project manager, the British project managers, he died without an illness, and his statue is in the Yokohama, you can see, as an honor. They helped, the British engineer helped Japanese people to transfer what they taught. With this spirit, we have to learn our project. And then learn by ourselves, because civil engineering is not our concern. It's a very conventional skill and techniques, which you can do. What you see in the YouTube and Facebook, all the Chinese interest in bridge and all that, people have Chinese partners have synthetic and help to us. I can say you for sure. I'm a professor teaching in the engineering. Our young engineers are smart enough to catch it in higher training. Last time. So with the conclusion, finally, I agree that BRI is potentially a win-win initiative. However, both China side and Nepal, we need to make an extra effort. We need some reform in the both sides. Especially Nepal state machinery, we may not be very strong like the Indonesia to have a very tough negotiation. But you, as our friend, I never. You should be that to understand and teach our bureaucrat. Please ask this. This is for instance, in China, Nepal, railway currently, feasibility study is going on. So I don't know the information. In that team, you are not involved in engineers. It's very unilateral. Don't do that. They should not help to have a sustainable project and in the long run. So teach our people and involve us that. So from the Nepal side, I already mentioned that we identify right project and don't insist on the grant. From the China side, finally again, my point is Nepal being a very close neighbor, use Nepal as an exemplary case. Look, the BRI going to Nepal or least developed countries, we build the infrastructure, we build the institution, we transfer the technology, and they are now in the Asia very competent in technology and infrastructure. That is the big return to China. Don't expect so much because we are too poor and too weak to run a business and to make a big profit. Not now. After 20 years, Chinese businessmen can make. So with this increase, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Suryadas Acharya. So we have 3 presentations. म यही आएर किन बोल्न चाहेको भने फेरि एकचोटि निवेदन गरौँ हजुरहरूलाई भनेर अलि सन्नाटा हुनु पर्यो। अब 2टा प्रस्तुति बाँकी छ, 3टा सक्यो र यो पनि यहाँलाई मैले निवेदन गर्न आएको हो कि यो 2टा सकेपछि प्रश्नोत्तर हुन्छ। सुरुमा पनि मैले यहाँलाई अनुरोध गरेको थिएँ हामी कमसेकम 5वटा प्रश्नहरू लिनेछौँ। It's very unfortunate. त्यहाँ पछाडिबाट हल्ला आइरहेछ, एकदम पछाडिबाट। हजुरहरूले अरूहरूलाई डिस्टर्ब गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ कि? You have no right. त्यो 5वटा प्रश्नहरू यति क्रिटिकल होस् कि यसले आजको यो सेसनलाई साँच्चै नै उत्पादनशील बनाउनेछ। अब 2टा प्रस्तुतिमा म सुरुमा चिनिया विद्वान वै चिसोङलाई बोलाउँदैछु र त्यसपछि अर्का विद्वान भनौँ वा वरिष्ठ प्रशासक भनौँ अथवा कूटनीतिज्ञ भनौँ लीलामणि पौडेल हुनुहुन्छ। यहाँहरूलाई व्यग्रता पनि लागेको होला। So now we have 2 presentations more. To begin again, let me invite Mr. Wei Chisong. Mr. Wei Chisong, उहाँ पेसाले एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिभ म्यानेजर हुनुहुन्छ र currently he is serving as an administrative manager of SCIG. हजुरले सुन्नु भएको छ कि छैन? SCIG is an international investment company working in Nepal now. This company was established back in 2017 to develop, own, acquire and operate भन्छ है। Develop, own and acquire भन्छ hydropower projects in Nepal. The company at present is investing and developing Manan Marshandi hydropower. उहाँहरूले भन्नुहुने हुनुहुन्छ। अब उहाँको अनुभव सुनौँ। उहाँलाई पनि हामीले समय 15 देखि 20 मिनट दिनेछौँ। So, Manager Wei Chisong, you have maximum 20 minutes. If possible, let you finish in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start my major speech, I would like to share some humble idea of my understanding of the BRI. Before I come here, this dialogue, in our office there is a discussion regarding what's the difference between FDI and the BRI. To me, when we're talking about making profit and creating jobs, that is FDI. But when we're talking about profound meaning in the future, we're talking about BRI. I cannot apply to my government to invest a fast food factory in Nepal because they will ask, how does that help Nepal in the future? No offense to the fast food factory, you can still do that. Sometimes we cannot see benefit right away. Of course, there is challenges. On behalf of SCIG International Nepal Hydro Joint Development Company, it is our honor to be invited here. I would like to share a commercial practical experience under BRI. Manam Mashangdi Hydropower Project, the first of 3 Cascade Hydropower Project. The Sichuan Provincial Investment Group, SCIG, was established in October 1988 as a comprehensive investment group under the Sichuan provincial government. In response to the Belt and Road Initiative, SCIG, in collaboration with the Butwa Power Company of Nepal, Chengdu Xincheng Investment Group, and Sichuan Qingyuan Engineering Consulting, jointly established our joint venture company in November 2017. This initiative marked the group's active expansion into overseas investments, with the Mashangdi Cascade Hydropower Project in Nepal being developed as a flagship BRI demonstration project of Sichuan province. This project is located in Ganaki region of western Nepal. The project, there are 3 projects. One is Manama Shangdi, 135 megawatts. The lower Manama Shangdi, 139.2 megawatts. And the upper Mashangdi 2 hydropower station, 227 megawatts. Total installed capacity, it's about 601 megawatts. The project, with a total investment of about $1.2 billion, developed under BOT model with a 35-year development, construction, and operation period. These projects will be constructed in stages over time. Currently, the Manama Shangdi hydropower project has commenced construction, while the other 2 stations are steadily progressing through the preparatory phase. This achievement is not only a result of our collective efforts, but also a vivid demonstration of the deepening China and Nepal cooperation under the Belt and Road Initiative, fostering mutual benefits and win-win outcomes. The project is located in a very beautiful area with fast-flowing rivers, yet it also presents complex topography, unpredictable climate, and extremely high construction challenges. However, our first challenge was not construction conditions, but rather the policy environment. At the beginning, we can feel the determination of the government putting effort to improve the policy environment. But when we come to the practice, there are a lot of challenges. We try to follow and adjust our progress as per the new regulation. To get clarification and confirmation become a routine of our daily work. 2021 was our initial target to produce electricity. But 2024, we just started the construction. We can recall all the points where we got delayed and debate on the reasons. Of course, the pandemic must win the first place. But we want to focus at where it should be focused, the future. Now we have lessons, and what we should do next, that matters. Even though we experienced and will continually experience challenges, but having faith of the future of Nepal has always been and will always be the reason for us to continue without hesitation. You can see this year's works. It's a long way for 3 projects. This is a typical commercial project. What makes us work this far, it is the effort from all shareholders. The Chinese embassy, of course, the government departments such as DOED, IBM, DOI, NRB, NEA, and so on. It is the first Chinese-funded hydropower project in Nepal to sign a project development agreement, PDA, with the Ministry of Energy, and also Nepal's first cross-border RMB financing project. It provided Nepal with a new financing option. There are 3 aspects I would like to share regarding this commercial model. First is the market-oriented financing model. The project financing comes from China Exim Bank's commercial loan, rather than government concessional loans such as bilateral government framework financing. The project's loan repayment relies on its own operational revenue, rather than government fiscal allocations or subsidies. Second, the commercial investment decision made by the shareholders. The shareholders' investment was not politically driven, but rather based on commercial evaluation and risk assessment, with the decisions made independently according to market return expectations. The shareholders' return on investment is from electricity sales revenue, in line with the profitability logic of commercial projects, not rely on government subsidies or sovereign credit support. Third, the market-oriented operational model. The electricity price is contracted by power purchase agreement signed with the NEA to guarantee the revenue resource. source. The project follows an enterprise-led market-oriented operational model, not direct government management, ensuring efficiency and profitability. Under Nepal's full commitment to payment, the project development agreement provides a certain level of protection for the key investment return factors during the construction and operation phases. At the same time, shareholders also provide guarantees, ensuring a relative fair risk allocation among stakeholders, which has been recognized by financial institutions. This financing model can be further refined and promoted to facilitate the successful implementation of more Belt and Road projects in Nepal. To our site work, currently is ongoing, including the headworks, powerhouse, tunnel zones, and water diversion system. And the company continues to refine safety and civilized construction standards, strictly implements environmental management requirements, strengthens environmental training for construction personnel. These are the pictures from our site. We try to build monitoring mechanisms to ensure the water quality, air quality, and noise emissions meeting the standards. Construction areas managed under a closed-loop system. Waste is collected and processed centrally. Meanwhile, Nepal's Department of Electricity Development, DOD, has closely monitored project progress. It established a project monitoring unit, PMU, and conducted the site visit in February this year to ensure transparency and accountability. The project company submits monthly progress reports to the DOD, demonstrating a well-regulated and efficiently managed construction process. With continuous optimization, the project is advancing steadily while ensuring environmental compliance, quality control, and progress oversight. At the same time, we are actively engaging with the local communities to promote regional sustainable development. This is the road before and after construction. And you can check on YouTube video site to see the road to Manam. There's many vloggers now driving motorbike into our site zone. The progress is undergoing so well due to sufficient pre-construction preparation, which also benefiting the local region at multiple aspects. The travel time from Nanangkyu to Besi Sahar is about 60 kilometers. The driving time has been reduced from 7 to 9 hours to just 3 hours. And we applied to NEA to install a high-quality power grid for the project, which also provided local villages with a stable electricity for the first time. Previously, there is no signal towers at our site zone. Now we have a signal tower in Tachi area. The signal coverage has greatly improved. Right now, the project has provided over 800 jobs and will create more than 2,000 jobs at peaking construction period. It is also driving local tourism development. Additionally, we have established a community support program that allocates dedicated funds annually to support local education, healthcare, water supply, and transportation infrastructure, helping local communities improve their livelihood and thrive. Upon completion, the Mashandi Cascade Hydropower Project will significantly alleviate Nepal's electricity shortages with a total installed capacity of 601 megawatts. It represents a substantial portion of Nepal's national grid. This will not only bridge the local energy gap, but also lay a solid foundation for promoting and utilizing clean energy. Looking ahead, we will continue deepening our presence in Nepal's energy market, using Mashandi as a starting point. We plan to expand into solar, hydrogen, energy storage, and smart grids to create a sustainable energy ecosystem. After 7 years of practice, we are more confident than ever. All the challenges will become opportunities, and the history of the transformation will be memorized. With all hands joined together, the faith to practice the BRI is enhanced, and we will return a green energy hub at Mashangi River to thank the trust of Nepal and create a better future together. Thank you all.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Wei Chishong. We shall wait for some questions later. Okay. So now let's move on. We have our presenter, Leela Mani Bowden. I don't need to give long introductions of him. Mr. Bowden was our Chief Secretary for the government of Nepal, former ambassador of Nepal to the People's Republic of China. And more than that, we are friends for the last 40 years. हामी दुईजना 40 वर्षदेखि साथी पनि छौँ। यो मैले यस कारणले भनेको कि उहाँलाई म 20 मिनेटभन्दा बढी समय दिन्न भनेर। With this very brief introduction, may we request for a presentation, sir.
Thank you, Professor Boju, chair of the session. Although you said we are friends, but I'm your student. Actually, thank you for your magnanimity. Distinguished chair, panelist, respected former Prime Minister, friends from China, and the participants, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste, ni hao, good afternoon. Once an hour. Being last speaker, I have the privilege just to say that whatever has already been said, more or less same, that's why I don't need to repeat it and then say goodbye. And that might be a little bit injustice to the audiences if I say that much. That's why I will briefly share some of my thoughts and then which has already been said by this way or that way with the previous speakers. I will basically talk on the not sure. Okay. This one. Okay. Briefly, we have been listening about BRI quite often, and then quite frequently a lot of us have no need or new types of definition for BRI, but what I understand is that it is the largest ever financing program. The focus on basically the connectivity to synergize trade and investment and the economic activities, generate new economic activities. As Acharya mentioned that there is an excess capacity of China in terms of there is a huge the reserve of foreign currency, and China wants to utilize. But what I understand is that the China wants to introduce a new development model. Conventionally, we have been accustomed with the Bretton Woods Institute led development modality. And the China wanted to introduce a new development modality, that is basically they used to say that the creating community of shared future or win-win cooperation. The China's excess capacity and the China's excess reserve, the foreign currency reserve, it can be utilized by a country like Nepal, where we have the the investment deficit as well as the infrastructure development need for the economic prosperity or the improving people's living conditions. And then that can be a win-win cooperation. That there are certain, definitely the conditionalities applies. And this is not a charity fund. Like our political leaders say that, oh, no loan, no loan, no loan. And then if you want to have a no loan, and don't talk about BRI. And then this is particularly any fund cannot be any money, yuan or dollar or yen or sterling pound or IC, whatever the currency you name it. Neither can it be a source of trouble or the debt trap, nor it can be free from any kinds of the maladies. This is the way people, how we utilize it, accept it. Either it can be a boon or it can be a bane. That's why this is a new development investment window and opportunity for us. If we properly negotiate it, as the Professor Acharya mentioned about the Indonesia's example, and then it will be a boon for us. If we fail, and then that might be a trouble for us. It applies not only with the Chinese investment, it applies with any kinds of investment. Either it is in dollar or sterling pound or whatever it may be. It has already been, the BRI is not a new thing. It has already been invested more than over $1 trillion US dollar. More than 3,000 projects in 150 countries. Several literatures have already been developed. That's why we can go through and then just understand that what is it and what is not. And then how we can benefit, how the country is benefited, how the countries could not benefit. There are a lot of examples. Then we can learn from them. Yes, everybody in this platform at today's meeting know that the BRI agreement was signed in 2017 with a lot of exchanges of views on to and fro. At that time too, there were some our friendly friends who used to say that don't sign, don't sign, don't sign. And we didn't listen. Because we thought that if we jump into the bandwagon of this BRI, there is a possibility of getting advantage in terms of our enhancing the infrastructure development or the promoting connectivity. Through that we can develop our economy. That is what we thought. But these several years remain basically unimplemented. The major flagship projects. Though there was substantial progress in terms of people-to-people connectivity, cultural connectivity, boosting investment tourism, up to 2019 I used to say. In the beginning of 2019, from 2016 to 2019, tourism growth was 72% from China. And the investment, 80% of the foreign direct investment was from China. More than 40 agreements were signed, covering every aspect of the people's life of Nepal. That was for the benefit of Nepali people. This was a period that we actually have the very bright prospects of benefiting but through the engagement of this BRI. But later on, rather than picking up projects that can, Surya Raj Acharya used to say that game changer projects, identifying projects, and then implementing in a sustainable manner, and the benefiting the country, we used to bog down on the debates, so-called created by the Western media and the so-called global north. I used to say global north. The India is not global north, but India joined on that group of propaganda against BRI. And then our so-called intellectuals and think tanks, some politicians used to borrow their views and ideas. As Acharya mentioned, already more than $1 billion invested by the US Congress for the propaganda against China. And then we were preoccupied with those propaganda, and then we could not actually implement any flagship projects during this period. We missed it. The reason for we delayed, we could not implement the project was the grant versus loan. And then second was the debt trap. Let me share some statistics. I used to talk on statistics. These are the different 2 years budget. The current fiscal year, government has a plan to take a 217.67 billion foreign loan. 217, almost 218 billion loan, government has a plan. But the same authorities who put this figure in the government budget and parliament passed, they used to say that, oh, no loan from China. And then we don't ask them question, and why? And then who gives this money and which terms and conditions? And then we are talking about grants. See that the budgeted grant amount for the whole fiscal year is only 52 billion this current fiscal year. This amount is less than 3% of the total budget. Then how you can develop your country by just less than 3% of the grant you expected from the entire world, and then part of this would be from China. And then if you want to finance, I'm not advocating loan. If you want to finance your project from your revenue, that's fine. But see the revenue. The revenue is not almost equal to the recurrent expenditure. This year, 1,260 billion revenue collected, projected revenue collections, and the recurrent expenditure is 1,140 billion. The revenue probably would not meet the target, but that recurrent expenditure will probably surpass the budgeted amount, and then it will be at par. By that count, we cannot develop without getting money in terms of loan or grant, and grant is very small. That's why we need to take loan. The grant and loan versus debate is a worthless debate, and that derails our whole development dynamics. And the China has been providing grant. I said that if you don't want loan from China, don't talk about BRI, because the China has been providing grants without BRI, without talking BRI. If there was no BRI, even then China is providing. It started providing grants in 1956, and then it was 800 million RMB until 2015. After 2015, the earthquake, that amount was increased to 1 billion RMB, and then we received 3 strands of this 1 billion, 16, 17, 18. I was one of the signatories of receiving this 1 billion grant for 2017. And then President Xi Jinping's visit, he announced to provide a 3.5 billion grant for 3 years. But these all money are underutilized because we don't have a proper project list. And then even if we have a project list, we cannot implement the project on time. And then if we cannot implement on time, and then the money cannot be fully utilized. That's the reason. In 2022, again, the 800 billion renminbi was committed when our foreign minister, the then foreign minister, Naran Kaji Shrestha visited China. But this money is also not fully utilized. This grant project was allocated in those projects. High-tech laboratory and blood cancer treatment, that is already been established. Chemical fertilizer plant, we don't know where it is. disaster relief already provided, COVID-19 assistance done, and cross-border railway lingering around. The beauty of Chinese grant until now is that it's channeled through the government. It doesn't have that like USAID, DFID, NORAD, KOICA, JICA, and they use that grant money through their own channel and then create a parallel government and sometimes fund for anti-government elements. Create a trouble to the government. China has not done this. That's why the Chinese grant has a beauty different than others. If we can properly utilize it. I don't know how long it continues. Maybe in the future, and then they learn the same story of the Western, the global North. They provide grants through the different channels, their own channels, and then this advantage, we will not have this kind of advantage in the future. And then the debt trap. See that we have all together 1,253.19 billion debt by the last Asad Masanta, we called the fiscal year, that is July 2024. And then this amount is increased twofold in last 5 years' time. We have been taking loan. While talking BRI, no loan, but we have been taking billions and billions loan during this period. Almost the hundreds of billions loans we have been taking. We have been continuously receiving loans, and then public taking the no BRI loan from BRI. What is that? This debt trap, see that. Professor Samrola mentioned without statistics, what I have in the statistics. See. SDR, this is the Bretton Woods institutions loan. World Bank, IMF like that. US dollar loan, mostly the global north banking sector's loan. Japanese yen, 4%, and Chinese yuan is 2.82%. It was 3.4% just 2 years back. Reduced to 2.8% means then we added loan from the other sources, and then that's why the China's share on the total loan is only 2.82%, and then we have been arguing and debating that debt trap. As I said earlier, no SDR, no USD, no yen, no yuan is a source of debt trap. Source of debt trap is the ill-conceived project, financing an ill-conceived project. Source of debt trap is the poor implementation of the project, cost overrun and time overrun. The LNG is 30 years, we have been running it. The cost has gone several times, 5-6 times. This is this type of project implementation, even if it is a very highly feasible project at the time of introducing the project, and then we fall in the debt trap if we don't implement on time. This is not the in as a source of debt trap. The source of debt trap is the poor implementation, poor conceived project, corruption, mismanagement, time overrun, cost overrun. These all are the elements that contribute for the contribution towards debt trap, not the what type of currency it is. When China gives money and it's a debt trap, when India gives money, no debt trap. Absolutely nonsense. Economists, no any economist can say it's like that. And then no loan from China and no loan from this country is okay. It's a nonsense idea. We have a huge financing gaps. We need about 15% of the GDP in the infrastructure based on the study done by World Bank itself in 2019 for our achievement of this sustainable development goal by 2030, but our investment is less than 3 or 4%, around 5%. That's why there is a huge investment gap. We need a lot of funds if we want to achieve our sustainable development goal, or if we want to be a middle income country, whatever we say, where prosperity. So whatever slogans we have been talking, and then we need additional funding. That additional funding, the BRI is one of the potential source. It depends upon how we negotiate. The benefits depends upon how we negotiate and then how we implement the project. Growth, competitiveness, efficiency, that brings in through the investment definitely improves our overall economic well-being. Revenue is shrinking, and then we have not been able to finance from our revenue, and then we need to take a loan. Grant is shrinking. That's why we must be judicious enough to spend it, not foolish enough. Building very lavish buildings, you see that from the loan money. Singadarbar, Prime Minister's quarter, Parliament buildings, Chief Minister's lavish buildings, cars, very expensive cars. There is no parking space in Singadarbar. These all are brought in by loan. This is the rubbish things that we have been doing, that pushing country towards a debt trap. We're talking that no BRI, this is the debt trap. No real, that is a big debt trap. Real never can be a debt trap. Real is a game-changing project, but it depends on how we finance it, how we implement it, how we operate it. These three things are vitally important. And the connecting through rail is making Nepal a really sovereign country. Until now, we are not fully sovereign because of the 4 times we have been blocked. And then our economy is so much dependent, and we cannot take any decision independently. Otherwise, there will be blockade, and then we'll have a lot of trouble. If we can have the connectivity towards north, then we can reach to the Europe, Southeast Asia, East Asia, Central Asia, West Asia, all over the world. From China, every year, thousands train travel from China to Europe, carrying goods, to and forth, back and forth. We can connect Nepal to Europe by land. We are a landlocked country. If we connect through the most efficient world's most efficient logistic industry with railway connectivity of China, and then we can benefit from the China's industrial value chain. Southeast Asian countries did like that. They connected with China's industrial value chain. And then for that too, we must be smart enough to negotiate with China. It doesn't come as a windfall gain. No, absolutely not. We must be smart enough to negotiate. I will take 5 more minutes. Currently, we have been excessive dependent on Bretton Woods institution for loan. Excessive dependence on consultant, very expensive, exorbitantly expensive consultant imposed by the Bretton Woods institutions. Their development model is to sell their consultant and then push the country like us to receive loan. They have been pushing loan these days on climate change. They damage the climate, now they are pushing loan to us, making our pushing towards debt burden to the country like Nepal. And then they exercise excessive authority, but never take accountability. And then when the new source of funding is available, BRI, and then they have been propagating the propaganda from tooth through nail to stop it, because they have been benefiting from this. Yes, I already said that debt trap regions are not the source of money. Yuan, Chinese yen, yuan is not a source of debt trap. Source of debt trap is wrong project, corruption, wrong design, excessive dependence on foreign consultants, and so on and so forth. Just the Chinese colleague just presented. They were supposed to produce power by 2018. Now the 2014 they have just started construction. Imagine how cost has gone up. The project when conceived was a very highly profitable. When that completed, it will be a completely unprofitable project. Becomes like that. That's why this is. And then another debate. I was surprised at the interest rate. The MCC project, you know that. The transmission project cost was 3 times higher than the normal project cost. built by the NEA. If the project cost is 3 times high, I can give you a free interest money. You are foolish enough to borrow. And then without talking about the project cost, if you talk about only interest rate, that's the foolishness. I don't want to give name of certain project. One so-called successful project financed by Global North is almost 2 times expensive, but interest rate is 0.75%. And then people give cite an example, oh, this is very cheap, and then why Chinese loan is 2%. And then I was shocked and surprised listening from so much economists and then so much business analysts. That's why interest rate itself, if the rate of return of the project is 20% and 12% loan is no problem. If the rate of return of the project is 10% and 4% interest is no problem. Still you will have the 6% advantage. But that interest rate must be negotiated with the total project cost. Not in isolation. Just see only the interest rate and then take loan. It's nonsense thing. Sometime I was in civil aviation sector. One European ambassador came and said that, okay, 50% grant, 50% loan, all Nepal's airport we will build. And I said that, okay, then all tender will be done in Nepal and then we will control all the projects and that's fine. No, it will be done in Europe. No, absolutely not. You will make the project 7 times costlier and they give 50% donation and then make a school. We don't need this. And then from next year onwards it never happened. This is what has been happening every year. Now and then when we are talking this has been happening in Singapore. Way forward, just bullet points, I will finish it. You will sign up from on Nepal own sides, not from the other sides. Because there are some countries consider China's development is a threat. We consider China's development is opportunity. And then there is a fundamentally different divergent views. If we borrow their views and then make our mind, and then we definitely the wrong platform. That's the fundamental thing is that prepare a project with detailed study. Which project is the national game changer project? Which project we need to prioritize? And then identify the project, which project is funded through revenue, which from grant, which from loan, which from private sector investment or PPP or joint venture. These two things must be finalized through major political parties who are supposed to reach in the power in the coming 10 or 20 years. Because the investors want to see that what happens after 10 years or 20 years. Their investment projects return receives after 15 years or 10 to 12 years. And then after 12 or 10 years, and there will be entirely another type of government and then which is hostile to their investment and their all investment will come. That's why they want to see the conformity of the continuity of the all major political forces. The political forces should have consensus on this. Then only we start negotiation with the funding agencies. BRI or Exim banks or Indian Exim banks, European banks, Bretton Woods institutions, whatever. Just Acharya mentioned about the Bandung railway project. They back and forth negotiated with Japan and China and then eventually awarded to China. Earlier that project was actually, if I am not wrong, that project was already awarded to China and taken back. And then they started to negotiate with Japan and then communicated to China that we are going to give it to Japan. And later on, again, they awarded to Malaysia, China. That's why we need the negotiation, very prudent mechanism is required to negotiate, and then terms and conditions, that needs to be negotiated very well. With these 4 points in our already been in place, BRI is an opportunity for us. This is a window for opportunity, and we need to prioritize the flagship project, game changer project, make powerful implementation plan, mechanism. The current mechanism cannot handle a mega projects and cannot finish in on time. That's why we need a separate mechanism for resolving every issue, whichever crops up, immediately resolving those issues, and a powerful mechanism is required for specific major projects, not for all. And then for all these, we need a political consensus. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for a wonderful presentation. So altogether we had 5 presentations, but at the moment we have 4 presenters with us. So now it's time for question and answer and discussion. We would really appreciate if you put some critical observation very shortly and a question. So just to remind you, we had 5 presentations. The first one was a BRI Nepal-China Agreement 2017 special feature by Professor Sangrola. Then we had a presentation on opportunities and prospective BRI by Professor Yang Yapo. Then we had BRI implementation Nepal opportunity and challenges again by Dr. Suriraj Acharya. And then a case study by Wei Chisong, and finally a very thought-provoking presentation by Nidamari Bodel on BRI wrong narratives and realities. So based on these, let's have 4 questions in the beginning. I think I should take the question 2 from this side and 2 from this side. The last one, 1, 2, sir, 3, sir, and then this side. No, ladies, okay, 4. 1, 2, Mandiraji, 3, and then this lady in black sweater, 4. Okay, please. You can put your question Nepali or English, but please identify who you want to question, okay? 1 question for 1 presenter. Hazur, garau hazur. त्यो होइन हजुर, पहिलो त हजुरको लास्टमा है, उहाँको लास्टमा प्लिज उहाँको लास्टमा हो त्यहाँ पछाडि 1, 2 हजुरको पछि होइन होला, त्यहाँ एकजना थियो पहिलो ठाउँमा, एकजना हुनुहुन्थ्यो, एकजना त्यसपछि मन्दिराजी अनि यता हजुर प्लिज एकदम सर्ट गर्नुहोस् है क्वेसन.
Since morning I have been raising a hand.
Thank you. No. 4 questions now. Second round, Hazur.
Thank you, Professor Buzu. My question goes to...
Please identify yourself.
This is B. Gokul Gautam.
Gokul.
My query goes to Professor Yang Yabo. In the past decade, President Xi Jinping, not only BRI, announced several series of initiatives, including Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative, and Global Civilization Initiative. I don't mind the criticism on the BRI about the debt trap or the governance issues of the Chinese companies or government, but China time and again seeks Nepal's support for GSI, Global Security Initiatives. Within the bigger umbrella of BRI, I have heard that the GSI comes under the bigger umbrella of BRI. If it is so, then what is the difference between MCC and BRI?
Thank you so much. Wait a minute. First we take the questions, okay? Now the next question from that side. Yes, please. Yes. Uहाँले दिनुहोस् न. भोलिन्टियर अलि त्यसपछि अर्को भोलिन्टियरले यहाँ मसँग माइक छ यता दिँदै गर्नुहोस्. हजुर
प्रेमल कुमार खनाल हो।
के खनाल भन्नुभयो?
प्रेमल कुमार खनाल।
ओके, प्रश्न फर्स्टलाई।
म ट्रेड युनियनिस्ट ब्याकग्राउन्डको हो। म विश्व ट्रेड महासङ्घ वर्ल्ड प्रेसिडेन्ट ट्रेड युनियन्सको पनि हुँ र यहाँ पेसागत महासङ्घ नेपालको पनि अध्यक्ष हुँ। मैले दुईटा
होइन हजुर, एउटा प्रश्न एकजनालाई। हजुर,
लीलामणि सरलाई भेट्ने भयो।
लीलामणि
जब सूर्य सरलाई भेट्ने भयो।
ल, खनाल सरको प्रश्न लीलामणि पौडेल सरलाई।
BRI-लाई गिजोलिएको छ। आजको दिनमा यहाँसम्म आइपुग्दाखेरि मैले बुझेको, हामीले बुझेको भनेको गिजोलिएको छ, सबै शक्ति लागेका छन् र यो एउटा यस्तो एउटा माइलस्टोन प्रोजेक्ट पनि हो BRI। अहिले विगतदेखि आएको चाहिँ त्रिदेशीय साझेदारीको पनि कुराहरू आएको छ र BRI-का लागि चाहिँ नि भारतसँग हामीले सम्मान गर्ने, छलफल गर्ने कुराहरू गर्न सकिन्छ। चीन, नेपाल, भारत भएर पनि र BRI प्रोजेक्टका कुराहरू जो छ, कनेक्टिभिटीका कुराहरू, रेलका कुराहरू, यी धेरै कुराहरू छन्। त्यसका बारेमा पनि के हुन्छ त्यो कुराहरू पनि आओस्। र दोस्रो यसरी सोध्छु म, BRI गुड प्रोजेक्ट हुँदाहुँदै पनि नेपाल कृषि प्रधान देश भएको हुनाले हामीले स्टार्टिङमा एग्रो बेस्ड इन्डस्ट्री र एग्रिकल्चर फार्मिङको प्रोसेसबाट चाहिँ हामीले प्रोजेक्ट सञ्चालन गर्दै गयौँ भनेदेखि राम्रो हुन्छ कि भन्ने लाग्छ।
हस्, खनाल अध्यक्षजी धन्यवाद। त्यसपछि थर्ड यता डाक्टर मन्दिर, त्यसपछि यता दिउँ माइक।
Good afternoon and namaste. Thank you to all the presenters. Well, my comment was to Mr. Professor Yuvraj Sangrola. I beg
होइन होला, एकैछिन है डाक्टर मन्दिर, हजुरको पालो आएको छैन? यता एकजना बहिनी हुनुहुन्छ, कालो लुगा लगाएर बस्नु भएको छ, यता अगाडि ल्याइदिनुहोस् त त्यो माइक। हजुर, मेरो हात हेर्नुहोस् न है, यता अगाडि। हजुर, डाक्टर मन्दिर।
As I was saying, my comment was to Dr. Yuvraj Sangrola, and I think some others mentioned.
Madam, Dr. Sangrola is not here.
Yeah, I know he's not there, but it's connected, so the question will go.
Please identify the presenter.
I will. Just listen to me, please.
No, so that the presenter will be more attentive. Yeah,
yes,
please.
But Dr. Sangrola mentioned that we do not have good engineers in Nepal, so I beg to defer to that. Being an engineer myself, there are plenty of good engineers in Nepal, and that what is required is probably capacity building, strengthening of the capacity, and maybe more exposure and technology transfer. So that leads to what Professor Surya Acharya just mentioned, that BRI does offer an opportunity for technology transfer and capacity building. And then my question goes to our speaker from the Marshanti corridor that you mentioned, Professor Wee Sisong. I very much appreciate your presentation on the cascades of the Marshanti corridor. You have a lot of experience, and that you mentioned that there has been delays, definitely due to several reasons, policy for instance. But with the experience that you've gained over the last couple of years, what is it that you can transfer to other basins in Nepal? Because this was a demonstration project under the BRI. So is there an opportunity to take such projects to other basins in Nepal? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. I'm Savyata Nepal, an LLM scholar from Tribhuvan University. My question is directed to Mr. Lilamuri Podel.
Miss, may I request you to direct your question to Dr. Professor Surya Raj Acharya?
Sure.
Yes.
My question is then directed to Dr. Surya Acharya. We did see so many of issues through your presentations about the debt. And then the question is, given the fact that it was originally directed to Mr. Lilamuri, the question is like, given the fact that you were actually the Chief Secretary of the government of Nepal back then, how do you think Nepal should have balanced its participation in BRI while maintaining sovereignty and avoiding debt dependency, given the fact that you questioned so much about debt and the issues? So maybe if you were to highlight that, it would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you very much. So we go to the presenters now, the first round, okay? Let me finish the first round. So firstly, me invite, request Professor Yang Yapo for the question by Gokul-ji. Yeah, now you can take that.
Thank you for your question. I think the initiative about safe development culture, just vision, but the belt, but BRI is action. So my advice is in 2024 framework will be implementation. Yeah.
Hello. कसैलाई यदि कठिनाइ परेको छ आफ्नो बोल्नको लागि भने मैले आफ्नो
Okay, I think you can speak in your own language, and then your colleague will translate into English. Is it okay? Yes.
Okay.
Please.
感谢你的提问。我想关于这个全球发展倡议、全球安全倡议、全球文明倡议，它只是一种理念，而我们的这个 BRI， 我们的这个“一带一路”，它更多的是这样的一个行动。我们要实现我们习近平总书记提出来这个人类命运共同体的这样一个理念，我们的这样一个中尼命运共同体的这样一个理念，那么它只有通过我们共同来推动“一带一路”的这个倡议的这样一个实施，才能够实现这样的一个理念。去年2024年，我们中尼之间发表了这样一个联合声明，在这个联合声明发表的同时，我们也签署了这样一个关于“一带一路”的合作框架协议。那么，我想呢，在我们这个共同推动这样一个“一带一路”的这样一个合作框架协议的这样一个落实以后，我们的这样一个理念，很多的这样一个理念才能够更好的这样一个实现。
Thanks for your question, and I think GSI and GCI and GDI is kind of source an idea, and the BRI is more about implementation and the construction. So I think the future of the shared future of Oman and the China Nepal must take joint step up to BRI cooperation, so we can achieve that idea ourselves. Yeah, and last year Nepal and China signed the joint statement and the framework of agreement about implementation of the BRI. I think if we step forward and do some practical work, maybe the shared future of China and Nepal will be achieved. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, one point, very short.
所以我反复强调这个协议的这个执行非常的关键。基于这样的一个认识，我很赞成上午黄永松教授提出来的，我们有必要成立这样一个委员会，独立的这样一个委员会来监督我们的这样一个框架合作协议的这样一个执行。
So, I stress on the implementation about the joint statement and the framework agreement. So I agree with Professor Huang. Just talk about to build up community to supervise how the projects and all of the framework to do some implementation. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now we move to another question, another presenter. So let's request Wei Jisong to respond to the question by Mandiraji.
Thank you for the question. I want to repeat the understanding from my side
regarding your question. You mentioning that there's a lot of engineers in Nepal. You mentioned that there's a lot of engineers in Nepal. How is it your question, meaning that how to make them to contribute their function?
Experience of implementing the current project, and how can that be replicated in other parts?
Okay, the experience copy to other projects, right? Okay. First of all, as I mentioned, that Mashandi project is carefully selected and risk reviewed by the shareholders. That is a commercial decision to make. And also at the same time, it's following Nepal's national electricity development plan. We have to check regarding this national development plan, what are those at front lines, and each project requires independent commercial risk and benefit assessment. That is the thing we do for business side. But for BRI, I think there's many things to do that we can share ideas, whether the plan made by the nation is based on the hardship or made by some other factors. We can review the ranking of those projects, working together, make a discussion. And also due to technology relevant daily, every day there's new technologies. Sometimes we need to come back to review the plan we originally made, then to decide maybe there will be a way out and new solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jisoo. Wait, Jisoo. And then let's move to Lilamari Poralji. He has two questions actually to respond. Okay.
If I understand correctly, you mentioned about being a chief secretary. How do you balance the relationship? How did you balance the relationship?
How you should have, or how you think the government should have done it now?
Basically, the chief secretary's position is a non-executive post. That's why very little power to maneuver the government policies about the balancing relationship. But as an ambassador, I could have thought about how could it be balanced. My perspective was very clear on those days and then now and then future also, because I am very much confident on what I believe. Is that the Nepal is a small country compared to the other two big neighbors. Although in the global perspective, Nepal is not a small country. It's a medium-sized country. But compared to our big neighbors, it is a very small country. And economically, our economic development status is very, very low compared to China, and then low also compared to India, and our capability is limited. That's why our diplomatic maneuvering capability is also very limited. And our options are also limited. And then if we don't use judiciously, or don't talk about balancing, even we would not be able to articulate our interest. That's why we have to use our all options most carefully and judiciously, so that we can maximize our benefits, and then we can continue grow our relationship or develop our relationship with mutual trust and the cooperation and the benefits for both sides. And for that, what I think is that we need to develop a very clear policies and then articulate and negotiate in a transparent manner, rather than making diplomacy in a dark room by some leaders, individual leaders, whatever they think, and they take a decision. That cannot, that would not benefit Nepal. Now we must ask them, don't take any decision on dark. Don't take any decision in closed door. Don't be tempted to personally appease the foreign leaders. Personal appeasement, that does not sustain and that does not pay for the country. And we must be clear and transparent enough to articulate our interest without jeopardizing their core interest. Don't enter into their core sensitive issues and interests. If we try to enter into their core sensitive interest, and then that will permanently jeopardize our relationship. We must know that what are their core interests. We must know their core interest. Don't intrude on that. Respect their core interest. Try to protect their core interest in our own soil. And then articulate our interest transparently, not in a dark room by a single leader, whatever they think on their whim, but by the collective decision. By deliberations, by discussions, what is right, what is wrong for us, why this is right, why this is wrong. And then communicate them clearly. They see, this is our interest, we want to do this, and then while doing this, and then we are not going against your core interest, but this is our interest, and then we cannot compromise on this. I will give you one example. I will finish. This is very important. Maybe that usually answer. I think that Premal Shah's question will also be answered through this. When I went to Beijing, there was an intense debate about the negotiation on BRI. And then some of our friends, long-term friends, were saying that don't sign. We have an interest. We have a concern. If you sign it, it will be compromise our interest. That kind of message they have been conveying in our capital. And then one day the ambassador came to meet me of that particular country, who says that they have the interest, and then they wanted me not to sign this. And then he came to meet me and they says that, are you signing this BRI? And then I said, why not? Definitely we'll be going to sign it. Government has not taken decision. And then he was surprised. I said, definitely we will sign it, because it is in the interest. I had the BRI's, the official document, and that copy, and then I forwarded him and then asked him that, what is wrong with this? Tell me. What this document compromises on your security interest if we join. And then he gave him some example. This particular things would compromise our own interest. I said, no, it will not compromise on your interest. There's nothing to do with what you have given example by signing this. Because he wanted to bring in third party's interest. I said that this agreement is signed, MOU will be signed between Nepal and China, and nothing binds us from what was signed between China and a third country. That never binds us. If you have the problem with China and the signing agreement with a third country, and then why you are talking this and then checking us to sign an agreement with China? Because that has nothing to do with that problem. And later on he says that, oh, China pushes their things as if they granted, they have they wanted whatever they wanted to impose on us, and then we are not accepting their impositions. I said that this is your problem. Why you are bringing to us? That's why there is nothing wrong. If we sign it, it will be not against you. We are not bringing up support from China and then making war with you, or you pushing you out from Nepal. Nothing that will be happen. This is for the prosperity of Nepalese people, and then we must do it. And then this is for the development of Nepal, and we must do it. This is not a military alliances. This is not also buying warships, and this is the development, making roads and then irrigations, highways, or the generating power. That will benefit Nepal, and then that will benefit you also, because we have very close relations, and then the benefit for Nepal will trickle down to your benefits as well. This is how that we should negotiate. And whatever that we take a decision must be informed decision. Whatever we take a decision must be understood by all stakeholders in Nepal, maybe major political forces or the major bureaucrats, top bureaucrats who take decision. There must be a collective decision. And there must be a deliberations and discussions and what is wrong, what is right, and then who says what. That must be discussed very honestly and very distinctly, very clearly, and then reach a conclusion, and that conclusion to be negotiated with our friendly countries. That is only the options for us, the balancing relationship. And then while this is not that give project to one country and then give another project to one country and then make it balanced, oh, this is a nonsense idea. Not like that. While working with the China and then focus on China and the development aspects, if some other countries argue against that, and then we must tell them that no, this is in the interest of Nepali people, and this is not a security pact, this is a development, we want to develop, and then tell us what is the alternative of this. Tell us, what is the alternative of this? Can you provide alternatives? Fine. Then we will see that. If you cannot provide alternatives, then you don't have any right to check on our development endeavors. This is our right, fundamental right. That cannot be negotiated. If you say like that, and then I think, and then if we negotiate with India, and then negotiate with based on the Nepal's interest, based on Nepal's interest. If some other country say don't do this, and then we will say that okay, let us to deal on this matter. This is our own matter of our own interest. And then that Gijolio भन्ने कुराहरु, Gijolio त सरले example he has already given. 1.6 billion rupees was allocated for propaganda against China, and they are operating here. And then what they do is that either they try to derail the cooperation agreements or arrangements. If they cannot derail the cooperation agreements, and they try to target the individuals, people, and then who initiated, who pushed, who negotiated, who finalized these problems. That is happening, and then history is the evidence. I can give you dozens of examples. What happened when some people negotiated on the Nepal's interest, and then what happened later on to those people. That is quite open facts. Thank you.
So, we are moving to the round 2, and I already have 2 questions in my hand, and one, and 2,
Excuse me, sir, can I draw your
3, you are 3.
Not forgotten higher.
3, yeah.
Here just to listen to you. We have been also here to
Oh, sorry, sir. Don't take it otherwise. You are in number 3, okay, in the round 2.
I'm 4.
Yeah. I think, let's respect, honor the senior citizen, okay, sir? So we'll give it to...
I'm also the senior, 6 years retired.
Oh, sorry, sir. It's your turn now. Okay. So, let's do another round. Okay, means first, this gentleman with cap, and then I will come to you. Okay, sir.
Humbly, Udinarayan sir, he's senior to me.
Wait, हजुरले पहिले गर्नु. हजुरले पहिले गर्नु. कसलाई हजुर?
Thank you very much, sir. Namaste to everyone. My name is Ram Babu Dhakal. I am appointed to the former Foreign Service Career Officer, and currently I am an academician teaching law. and I have been participating in this BRI discussion with the courtesy of invitation from Setubandhu Institute. Professor Ananda and Rajesh Shrestha deserve my gratitude. Today I have been raising my hand since the morning because I have questions here. Because I am a student of Nepal-China relations. I want to share saying the nature of the discussion and the points of the arguments and claims going on some different way rather than what is on the reality. In Nepal, nobody opposes the Nepal-China cooperation. That is taken here for granted. We have a very cordial, friendly relations with China and Nepal over centuries. Nobody objects here China-Nepal cooperation in any way. And China has been very kind to helping Nepal over 70 years. Since we established the diplomatic relations, we have number of dozens of factories have been established in Nepal
Dr.
with the cooperation.
Would you mind to focus your questions?
Yes, I am coming to point, sir.
And then
that's
also
what I'm saying.
Identify the presenter.
Of course, it is maybe related to Lilamani sir or maybe Dr. Surya Acharya. Because my question I have already handed to you, it has reached to you. It is about the projects and take it for this way, reality. Nepal government or Nepal has already signed the MOU agreement 2017. Then we have last year signed another framework agreement. Nepal has already forwarded 9 projects for the consideration by the Chinese government for the investment or whatever the projects to be considered under the BRI. The point comes here, any country select the projects based on the cost-benefit analysis. And in that cost-benefit analysis, if the country considers that this project is beneficial, then the country commits taking any loan or any grant or anything. No any other country can simply impose that you can take this project in the interest of political, strategic or whatever it is. So why don't Nepal and China could offer very kindly a kind of cost-benefit analysis studies to be conducted on these 9 projects and make it transparent to all the Nepali people and Chinese people. These projects are beneficial to Nepal in the long-term interest, and then we are taking under the BRI. Thank you very much.
हजुरले लास्टमा हजुरलाई म बोलाउँछु हजुर पछि I will move to the lady and then you at the front. Okay, हजुर यता बहिनीलाई दिनु त. And then I will come to you, sir, and finally our respected Budinara.
Thank you, sir. I'm Neetu Bhandari, the student of 4th semester International Relations and Diplomacy. I have a point of view and a question, maybe that both delegates can answer. But if it is to be answered, I would love to be heard by Lilamani Gautam sir and our Chinese professor Yong Chong. So my question is, me being a fan of our Chinese leader, Deng Xiaoping, the Nepal also wants to bring that prosperity the Chinese got in the era of Deng Xiaoping through the BRI, because it has such a connectivity, such a opportunities for the Nepal to be to get out from the mentality of the landlocked country into the landing country. Having said that, what are the programs of the Nepalese government to include the student like us, the university, the academia world, just like the sir said, to find out the cost-benefit analysis project which can harbour the prosperity of the Nepal, and along with that maintaining the Chinese, because there is nothing like a free cup of tea, so ensuring the Chinese interest as well, because we being Nepal, we have never ever given any countries or foreign player the chance to use our territory against any of our neighbors. So ensuring that, I want Lilamani sir or Deng Xiaoping to talk on a question that how can China adopt its BRI financing mechanism in a way that gain the Nepal's debt sustainability threshold while ensuring project prioritizing Nepal's development need over geopolitical interest.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Miss. And then, yeah, how are you doing this? Yeah, okay.
नमस्ते, मेरो नाम प्रवीण काफ्ले, म पेसाले इन्जिनियर। मेरो प्रश्न चाहिँ डाक्टर सूर्यराज आचार्यलाई। नेपालमा चाहिँ हामी अलिकति ठुला आयोजना, ठुला प्रोजेक्टहरू, म्याक्रो लेभलको कुराहरू बढी गर्छौँ होइन। अब अलिकति यो स्थानीय तहमा हेर्नुहुन्छ भने यो म्युनिसिपल चिफहरूको लागि यो बजेट चाहिँ क्यापिटल एक्सपेन्डिचर यसै पनि कम भइरहेको, बेरोजु बढिरहेको र हाम्रो चाहिँ पुरो समग्र नेसनल लेभलमा हेर्नुहुन्छ भने पनि यो पुँजीगत खर्चहरूमै समस्या छ, बजेटहरू फ्रिज हुने, अब पेमेन्टहरूमा डिले हुने, अब लिगल कुराहरू छन् होइन। त्यसपछि तपाईँको टेक्निकल कम्पिटेन्सीका कुराहरू छन्, अब यो स्टेटले फेसिलिटेट गर्ने कुराहरू छन्। हामीसँग भएको बजेट यसै पनि हामीले एकदमै वाइजर वेमा खर्च गर्न सकिरहेको छैनौँ, एकदम यसको चाहिँ एफिसियन्ट वेमा हामीले यसलाई युटिलाइज गर्न सकिरहेको छैनौँ भनेपछि भोलिको दिनमा चाहिँ यो BRI आए पनि यो क्यापेसिटी बिल्डिङको कुराहरू, टेक्निकल कुराहरू, कन्सल्टिङको कुराहरू, इभन हजुरको जेनरल पब्लिकको पनि यो एउटा अवेरनेसको लेभलहरू हामीले अपग्रेड गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ। चाइनिजहरूले फर द फर्स्ट फ्यु इयर्स यो कुरामा चाहिँ अलिकति क्यापेसिटी बिल्डिङमा चाहिँ हेल्प गरेर त्यसपछि बिस्तारै हामीले यो खालको एम्बिसियस प्रोजेक्टहरू लग्दाखेरि राम्रो हुने थियो कि भन्ने लाग्छ मलाई। थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच।
हस्, धन्यवाद। Finally, let me request Buddhinarayan sir for his question to the presenters.
Thank you. My name is Buddhinarayan Shrestha, border analyst. My short query to Dr. Suryadas Acharya. You made a very good presentation on BRI implementation in Nepal, and you also explained the technical terms on grant, loan, etc., etc., etc. I mentioned, presently, Nepal is connected to China through Kodari Highway, Raswagari Highway, Hilsa Taklakot Road, etc., etc., etc. And I guess in future they will be connected to China also through other highways such as Tamil Corridor, Arun Tamil Corridor, etc., etc., etc. On the other side of the coin, Nepal is connected to India through more than 10-15 roads and highways. My query to you is whether it will be China's BRI and Nepal's corridor in terms to connect China and India by Nepal. If Nepal became a transit country between our two neighboring nations, how much Nepal will be benefited in terms of economic diplomacy, structural infrastructural diplomacy, or geopolitical diplomacy? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hazur. Thank you very much. Hazur. All right. यसो गरौँ हजुर, अब चिया खाने बेलामा हामीसँग झन्डै आधा घन्टा 40 मिनट समय दिनुभएको छ। हामी त्यही बेला छलफल गरौँ है, बिकज वी हेभ बिन हियर फ्रम 8:30 इन द मर्निङ। त्यस कारण चाहिँ जो साथीहरूको मनमा जिज्ञासा छ पछि चिया खाने बेलामा छलफल गर्नु पर्ला। यति मैले हजुरहरूसँग यहाँ छेउयासना गरेँ। अब क्वेसनको हकमा दुईवटा हाम्रो 4वटा प्रश्नहरू थियो। वी ह्याड 4 क्वेसन्स एन्ड अल डिरेक्टेड टु दि नेपाली एक्सपर्ट्स। सर्वप्रथम म डाक्टर सूर्यराज आचार्यज्यूलाई दुईवटा प्रश्न राखिएको छ, त्यो म भन्न चाहन्छु। मे आई रिड द क्वेसन फर यु? ओके हजुर, आउँछ, त्यो पनि आउँछ हजुर। म पढेर लास्टमा है हजुर। Dr. Acharya, number 1, this question is from Dr. Ram Abodeka. The question is like this: why don't China and Nepal conduct studies of cost-benefit analysis of each of 9 projects so far identified?
It's very interesting questions. The first, as a project analysis, we have to understand what is the meaning of the cost-benefit analysis and how relevant it is. I understand it. Our media and even our experts we give a lot of importance to the cost-benefit analysis. I teach that course. It's very basic. Don't get confused on that. It is a useful tool. But when it comes to the practical level, let me tell you an information. When Nepal discussed or conceived East-West Highway, that project was left because it was not economically feasible. From the cost-benefit analysis, it was rejected. Not from this politician, it was from the RTO, the American expert was in there. The Indian planner was in there at that time. So we should be very careful. For your information, let me share you one important information. All these American, European, Japanese, Koreans, in 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, when they have a big infrastructure, it was not by cost-benefit analysis. It is very new concept. There is a relevance. More than the cost-benefit analysis, the financial analysis is very important. If the project is for direct financial profitability, the financial analysis, that is what we do in the hydropower. If in the hydropower is not a direct return, nobody will invite you in that. But for the public, for the infrastructure of public nature, one of the tricky things in most of the projects, such as the China-Nepal this railway, yes, if you run the cost-benefit analysis, it will be this less than one. It's very obvious. But it doesn't mean that we don't need it, because to develop the demand for which kind of the infrastructures, we produce it for the future. Look, most of the road connecting to the district headquarters, I'm an engineer, I will do that. I'll tell you for sure, they are not, from the cost-benefit analysis, not feasible. That means we don't connect the district headquarters. That is why some of the projects are of long-term strategic natures. That is the game changer. The meaning of the game changer is this is exactly that. The project is not to solve the current demand. The project has to generate the future demand, the connectivity, strategic, and that will change the whole structure of your economy. Look, the fast track. It is not from the cost-benefit analysis. This is not feasible. That is why the private sector asked, we spend a quite big deal of time. What at the end of the day? I told you the day one in the parliamentary committee that when we spend the time, look, this project is not financially feasible, and the private sector, sooner or later, they ask the guarantee. And what happened is, they asked for the 15 arab, the guaranteed by the finance minister. So, this issue is, as the cost-benefit analysis looked very fancy, but when it comes to the practically, it has a limitation. And the calculation is very messy. I've gone through the cost-benefit analysis done by the World Bank academic region. What they do, in the first round of calculation, IRR is 5%. Then the team leader said, well, we have to make it 10%. Make this production of this apple line, this and agriculture is small. Inflate it and make it the 10. That is exactly. This is not only in Nepal. So this is regarding the cost benefit. What I would suggest is, instead of the cost benefit analysis, what this kind of the project is, it's strategic and political leadership need to be engaged and very clear. After we build this project, what is the ecosystem of economic development? How other component we are going to promote it? So that is more important, what we call it the cost effectiveness, that bring the cost down, and cost effectiveness analysis is, I think, the more important.
Thank you. हजुरलाई अर्को पनि प्रश्न होइन I'm very sorry.
I can't agree with Dr. Surya sir, because I am also a student of project cost and benefit analysis. What is the financial part? Is that otherwise then we are leaving the decision to the discretionary power of the politics.
Yes, sir.
Then why to comment on that? Then let the decision makers and the politician to take anything, and then we should not make any comment.
हामी अर्को प्रश्न
Thank you, sir, but I think we can discuss.
यो चाहिँ पछि छ होला। अर्को प्रश्न हाम्रो बुद्धिनारायण सरबाट थियो। So Buddhinarayan sir has asked a question. We already have some connection with China on one hand, and also we have some connection with India already. So now we are bringing BRI as a connectivity. So what additional benefit or what additional contribution it will make? That was the question. कस्तो भयो भने हाम्रो चाहिँ अहिले नै चीनसँग पनि बाटोघाटो खुलेको छ 5-7 ठाउँमा, इन्डियासँग पनि 10-12 ठाउँमा छ भने फेरि BRI थपियो भनेपछि अब के यसले कहाँनिर एडिसनल भ्यालु गर्छ भन्ने कुरा
BRI connectivity with China, of course, we have connected with the Church. It's also very important. It's also very important questions. When we discussed about the China-Nepal railway, many even the engineers, there is the road is there already, why can't it? So our expert problem is, we don't understand what is the road reliability in Tibet. In the winter time, in the snowfall time, and how many days it takes a truck from say Chengdu to the Kathmandu that days. So the point is, this new connectivity, China-Nepal railway, why we are calling it a game changer is, look, forget about other things. If a train leaving from this Kathmandu reach Chengdu within the 24 hours, that you cannot probably imagine what its impact would be. That because now the Chengdu and Lhasa is connected with the new line. It's not going all the way up and down. So this connectivity, the current connectivity, look, Nepal is relying on the Calcutta port. The one thing is, it's a long debate we need it, depending upon Indian logistics. I'm not biased against the logistics. Depending upon Indian port and logistics, Nepal can never be a developed country. There is a reason. Some foreign direct, some German company has to invest in. They will invest in the Calcutta. Why they come here? And take all this to the cost of transportation cost. So by India logistic, our international trade and import-export is, we will never be competitive. On the other hand, now China is the biggest market. And if we have a direct access to the China, this is a new opportunity for our economic development. So this kind of debate need to be initiated at the top political level. We need to understand it's a very strategic, existing mindset that will not give the answer for it. And it's, the questions of the comparison of connecting with China with highway and railway is, for an engineer like me, it's a common sense. It is, we don't need to debate it. In the supply chain logistics, the importance of the railway and highway is very distinct in the long distance. So it is not only what you call, we have already connected India and China. Why need the extra? It is not extra. It's a game changer and taking our situation into the upper level.
Thank you. अब दुईटा प्रश्न यताबाट आएको थियो लीलामणि सरको लागि हो. वेट अ मिनट सर, एउटा अर्को थप प्रश्न छ हजुरलाई नै मैले राखेँ, त्यो म पढ्छु. The question is from Gopal Baraji, होइन, म पढेर सुनाउँ है सजिलो हुन्छ भनेर. This question is also directed to Professor Yang Yapo. Mr. Bara has a question. This is regarding India has already constructed, using Nepal's land, a road to go to Mansarovar Kailash. While Nepal has not approved or given any permission to build the road through the land of Nepal. However, China has already accepted the route. So this is the question. It's a little political question. So this is a question to Professor Yapo. Maybe Leela Mani sir also would like to respond. So Leela Mani sir, you have Altogether, 3 questions to this one. Please come.
Can you repeat the 3 questions?
Also, the question here.
Nitu Bhandari, you just, if I understand correctly, you said that if there is a need to conduct a feasibility study or Nepal-China cooperation arrangement mechanisms, why don't that students of the international relations are utilized? No? That is what I also advocate. What you said that I have been advocating this issue also, and just Santoshji this morning presented about the status of BRI challenges and opportunities. Some of the young scholars who have been studying now were engaged on that research, and some other scholars also returned from China after PhD or postdoctoral degree are engaged in a lot of research work, and then some of the students are Nepali students are working in China and then conducting research on trans-Himalayan region, on biodiversity in the Himalayan region, towards the Tibet side and then towards Nepal side also they come sometime. This has been growing these days and then it needs to be intensified. There are a lot of young students who want to study more and learn more about the Nepal-China relations, how it can benefit for Nepal, how it can benefit both the countries, how we can contribute to the regional development and peace and security working together. That kinds of the questions that the youth have been constantly asking, then when I interact with them, that's a good idea, and then we should raise this voice. I join with you to raising this voice to the concerned authorities when they take up the projects and then use your expertise and knowledge to analyze the projects and then to propose the new policies or maybe analyze the existing policies and projects and programs. Such debates and discourses also immensely benefit the students like you to understand the true perspective of the issues and then make up your mind and contribute for the positive synergy in the relationship between two countries. That is, and then second was about the maybe Bharalji asked about the road opened by China by India towards Mansarovar, Kailash Mansarovar, and maybe this question I may not be able to answer this. Better put either Chinese side or the Nepali authorities who are in power, who are in actual policy making position could answer this question. But what I think is that China should not or would not allow any kinds of the border crossing through the debated area between Nepal and India. If there is a unresolved border dispute between Nepal and China, and then allowing Indians to walk that border through that debated area would definitely jeopardize the Nepal's whole interest. That we should request China not to do any sorts of the things that jeopardizes Nepal's core interest. And then Nepali side also, Nepali side must also be articulating or put forward their proposals or the send protest if something that happens against the Nepal's interest through the diplomatic channels. They should use the diplomatic channels to resolve this matter. Border disputes if cannot be resolved quickly, and then that can be agreed upon that a tripartite agreement for common benefits, used for common benefits. That are internationally accepted some kinds of the mechanisms in the other parts of the world. If that border dispute are not resolved now, rather than obstructing the development, can be agreed upon
for the tripartite benefits, not for the two parties only benefits, if there is a tripartite dispute. That is what we can pursue that Nepal's interest through that diplomatic channels. And what was the third question? Oh, thank you.
问题，我想呢，在这样一个这个问题上，我觉得我们是一个在这样一个签订的这样一个联合声明里面，把它作为一个双边的一个具体的这样一个合作项目来谈。那么针对于这样的刚才提问的这样一个争议的这样一个问题，实际上我也认真学了，看了这个去年中尼两个国家签订这个联合声明。联合声明里面的第3条，实际上有我们的这样一个非常明确的一个官方的这样一个立场。我们的立场就是坚定支持尼泊尔维护国家独立、主权和领土完整，尊重和支持尼方自主选择符合本国国情的政治社会制度和发展道路。
That's a very specific question, and I learned that from the joint statement. And you know the China Pass, you know, to the open to the Indian pilgrim tourism is not a spend of China to you know recognize the Kalapani is the land of India. You know, China make the stand that it firmly supports Nepal in upholding its independence, sovereignty and territorial integrity, and the respect and support of Nepal's independent choice of political and social system. That is one of Chinese stand. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was very political and very tricky question. Thank you so much for your responses. Provinji, have you got your responses yet? What was the topic? Okay, capital expenditure. And the question was to Dr. Acharya, capital expenditure. BRI and capital expenditure, yes.
Shall I repeat the question?
Briefly. बोलिए
म नेपालीमै राख्छु हाम्रो चाहिँ अब म्युनिसिपल चिफहरू अलरेडी एउटा प्रब्लम के छ भन्दाखेरि
So we already have a problem in Nepal, especially in the local government sector, that municipal chief, they have not been able to utilize all of their fiscal budget for implementing, especially infrastructure development related projects. So in case of Nepal, if we talk about national budget, so there is very less percentage of capital expenditure. There is a very large vacuum in payment of contractors, equally complex norms on legal issues for facilitating the payment for the workers. Maybe there is also a problem in time frame. So if we talk about large scale of development projects such as BRI, so in the future also we will be having such problems in executing the projects, maybe delay in the payments, maybe problems to make people understood well about the projects. Also, we'll have a lot of complexities to facilitate legally so that the project will be completed in time. So that is our national problem, right? So why can't we ask Chinese to facilitate on improving our capacity so that the development projects get completed in time and then maybe a large scale project, monorails, roads and such big scale infrastructures also will be completed on time in the future. So that would be the preliminary stage for this big level of project development, right?
Thank you, Praveenji. उहाँको मुख्य भनाइ चाहिँ क्यापासिटी बिल्डिङ पहिले गरेर अनि पछि गर्दा हुँदैन भन्ने उहाँको कुरा
I agree with that. When it comes to Nepal, it's not only in the case of Nepal. I mean, when we look at from the Second World War onward, all the Asian and African countries, the challenges they faced is what European countries achieved in 100 years in terms of infrastructure, investment, growth and all that. The Asian African country has to achieve that the same thing in 10 or 20 years. We need airport, we need a metro, we need expressway, we need highway. But if you look at the Western, this history, the 100 years they developed the railway, next 50 years they developed highway, and then come the airport and all that. So the key point is, in developing countries, in Latin America, Africa, Nepal, Asia, what we need is, we need our own way of development model. That is exactly what East Asian countries did. The Japan, Korea, China, Indonesia, they didn't follow American economists. They didn't follow European this model. Though they learned a lot from the World Bank and that, the technical thing they learned with that. So you are right. The point is, what we need to be very careful, it's quite challenging. The capital investment, expenditure and funding availability is a big gap. So BRI like things is rich opportunity in the sense that if we could utilize it, build our capacity, and that is what China did. You see, the China, our Chinese colleagues, I'm very sorry, they never shared this secret. They never shared. They are in the secret of their success. For instance, when I was in Tokyo, in my institute, for this continuous 5 years, they used to organize Japanese engineers and the railway scientists and Chinese. They were debating in that time that China was considering whether to go for the conventional rail, high-speed rail or maglev. And Japanese scientists helped you a lot despite your political differences. And what you did is, you adopted the high-speed rail and transferred the technology. This is the key point. Look, if China had to rely on TBG French or German or Japanese Shinkansen, your highway length would not have been more than 1,000 kilometers. Now you have a 40,000, 50,000. So this is the key point. Look, I am an engineer, I am very sorry. I am sometimes very irritated. When you talk about we don't have money, we don't have money, we don't have money. You see, in 1978, when the Chaplin had to travel to this UN meeting, he could not travel in executive class because there was no dollar. Now they have a $3 trillion US. So politicians need to think that way. And you are right, this capital expenditure, all this investment and that is this is a very technical, doable thing. Most important thing to learn from China is not only BRI, it's more than BRI. That is why I indicated initially. Most important thing is, when we discuss about BRI, there is one negotiation and conversation is in the political level. That is fantastic. We have a very good relationship. We have a huge goodwill from Chinese leaders. But when the same BRI goes down and down and down and project level, then we will have a non-control. When it comes to your contractor level, tendering level, making money level, then there is a problem. So these two things we need to separate. That. So your point is the policy level, that is, if we utilize BRI correctly, conclusion is, if we are smartly, like Indonesia did, if we utilize BRI smartly, it's not a problem. We can bridge up our gap and that. But if we are just fighting over it's a grant or a loan and this and that, even if it is the BRI loan, our food will be messed up like this.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Acharya.
Surya sir has been advocating that things, capacity building. No? He already mentioned when he presented about the railway project. We are not talking about bringing railway wagons from China only. And then before bringing railway, we must have a prudent plan that how can we boost up our production, how can we boost up our economy through that railway, which you should have a proper planning. And not only that, we must have the proper man resources to handle those railway projects. Not depend on a driver also, then we bring a railway from India. And then 1 year that stayed in the station covered by tarpaulin just because we didn't have driver. And then that kind of the project definitely is not in the interest of Nepali people. But that we must have advanced preparation for operation, maintenance, modernization, upgrading. That human resource also simultaneously be developed, and the technology transfer should be also the one of the key points for the negotiation. And then we have to go simultaneously together. Then this is don't bog down on small or big the controversy. That some people are trying to derail the very strategically important project through this debate. That is very dangerous. That's why don't bog down. Oh, let's start first small and then big. That is not the issue. Then we must find out a very game-changing project, a mega transformative project, but that project not on the conventional way of implementation. I mentioned that a very special arrangement for the implementation. That includes the capacity building as well. While talking with Chinese, and they were ready to build up our capacity on railways. I remember that I talked with our Secretary of the Ministry of Physical Planning that gave 50 engineers. At least I will negotiate with China for the scholarship on railway, different disciplines of the railway systems, so that when we build up railway, we will have a chunk of staff on different diverse railway technologies, and then we can operate our railway on our own. And but there was no any kinds of the initiation from Nepali side. Only just 4 engineers went and came back. But even then, when they came back, and they are not in the railway department, they were some other places. Some that other engineers are in the railway department. That is the fate of Nepal's railway station. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. So finally, it's my turn as the moderator and also the chair of the session. I have not much things to do and not much things to speak. Just 2 things, sir. Firstly, let's give a big hands to these 4 great presenters. And also, we really appreciate the patience of the audience, and also for the some of the participants who made very critical questions. So to them also, on behalf of the organizing foundation, we propose a word of thanks to them. Thank you so much. Thank you, question raisers. And finally, the tea is waiting outside, but we made you waiting here at least for 30 or 40 minutes. For that, I apologize from my side. And finally, whoever are interested to get a group photo, please join us here. Thank you so much once again. Today's session is over, and we'll gather tomorrow again at 8:30 for the day 2 of the dialogue. Thank you so much. Oh, there is one surprise we have, that is handing over of the token of law of the souvenir, for which again I hand over this mic to Sabina, my student.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you to all of our esteemed panelists and participants for such an interactive and insightful discussion. And we are very much grateful for our moderator, Professor Dr. Dinesh Raj Buzu, for facilitating such a productive discussion. Moving onward, I would like to call upon the stage the chair of the event, Dr. B.K. Man Singh, President of Foundation for Peace, Development and Socialism, to present the souvenir to our distinguished delegate. And I would also like to invite our former Prime Minister of Nepal, Right Honorable Jhannath Khanal, to the stage to present the souvenir to the distinguished delegate and speaker. I would also like to invite Ms. Shreya Shrestha upon stage to assist our esteemed chair. Now I request our esteemed chair to kindly present souvenir. I would like to invite Professor Dr. Huang Yun Song to come forward to stage to receive the token of appreciation. With this, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Dinesh Raj Buzu to receive the token of appreciation. Please give a big round of applause. I would also request to present souvenir to Professor Jiang Subin. Please give a big round of applause. I would also like to invite and request esteemed chair to kindly present souvenir. Please give a big round of applause. I would also like to request chair to present souvenir to Professor Dr. Jiang Subin. I would like to request our chair to kindly present souvenir to Dr. Surya Chaswade. I would like to invite and request our esteemed chair to kindly present souvenir to Dr. Leelamani Bode. On behalf of everyone, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the chair of the event and Right Honorable former Prime Minister of Nepal to graciously presenting the souvenir. Please give a big round of applause for all our distinguished delegates and all our speakers. Thank you, Chair, for graciously presenting the souvenir. Likewise, I would like to invite Mr. Dr. Prasad Karki to request our esteemed chair to kindly present souvenir. I would also like to invite Dr. Sampul Katioda to receive the token of love. Likewise, I would also like to request and invite the Professor Wei Jishong to receive the token of love. Likewise, I would also like to invite on the stage His Excellency Cheng Chong to receive the token of love. Sorry for the delay. I would also like to invite Professor Dr. Ibrahim Samrola to the stage and to receive the token of appreciation. Please give a big round of applause for all our distinguished delegates and all our speakers. On behalf of everyone, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the chair of event and Right Honorable former Prime Minister of Nepal, Kasthamandap, for graciously presenting the souvenir to all of our delegates. Please join us for a group photo session. I would also like to invite on this stage Ms. Patita Singh to kindly receive the souvenir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the chair of the event. And I would like to request all of you to join the group photo session.
तपाईँले खिचेपछि क्यामेराम्यान हेलो क्यामेराम्यान क्यामेराम्यान अलिकति मलाई कृपया
Thank you. Now with just the moderators and the panelists. Shall we have one with the moderators and the panelists? Can we have just one with the moderators and the panelists?
I would like to call upon the stage all the moderator.
जानु अगाडि एउटा सूचना लिएर जानु होला सबै उपस्थित सहभागी साथीहरूलाई हाम्रो आजको यो कार्यक्रम यहाँ सकियो भोलि बिहान 8:30 बजे पुनः दोस्रो दिनको विभिन्न सेसनहरू छन् कृपया आइदिनु होला भोलि बिहान 8:30 बजे रेजिस्ट्रेसन छ र 9 बजेदेखि सेसन सुरु हुन्छ भोलि आइतबार बिहान 8:30 बजेदेखि काष्ठमण्डप डाँडाको दोस्रो दिन त्यसमा पनि यहाँहरू सबैलाई स्वागत गर्न हामी चाहन्छौँ धन्यवाद
हुन्छ म वाट्सएपमा
Yeah.